All right, here we go on a Thursday. It's Cody and Gold, as in it's actually Cody and Gold.
The entire show.
It's a full show together. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on a Thursday. What's up, man? I feel like this always happens on the holidays.
It's like a week, but it feels like a year.
It does feel like it's been a while since we've done. I mean, I guess it has been kind of, right? You got to go back to the following week before last since all three of us were doing a show together. So
good to be back
and ready to roll. You do it like did you stay in town? Did you do did you? Was it just spending time with the kids? Did you go anywhere? Did you go see the Moana 2? Did you?
I did not see Moana 2. I probably should have. Yeah, you would think that I would have done that, but no, I didn't. I just got caught up. I spend some of the holiday vacation time just getting caught up on stuff, or shopping for Christmas, or some of the other stuff that may be included in that. Did a lot of that stuff, and then I had Thanksgiving with my family, her family, all that stuff.
Yeah, the only thing you missed on the show that I would say I wish you were part of for sure was on Monday. Drew finally did it. We had a official Cincinnati Bengals funeral for.
Wow, we did.
Drew was willing to do it. We had a nice.
I'm glad he was willing.
I let Drew do the eulogy as well when it came to Cincinnati. So that was.
What did he say?
Did
he say something nice about Joe Burrow first?
Of course, he said Joe Burrow MVP quarterback. I go, hold up. I go, he's not an MVP quarterback. Has never been one. But yeah, we did. We did have a Cincinnati.
He's playing at an MVP level.
He's playing just as good as Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah. Someone also said, Cody, who comes back on a Thursday? You should just take it Thursday and Friday. He was supposed to be back Wednesday initially.
Well, initially that was, I think I got it all confused. I was thinking initially it was supposed to be Tuesday, and then when I looked back, it was always that I was supposed to be back on Thursday. I don't feel like I should take the whole week off. I know coming back on a Thursday seems a little weird, admittedly. Makes for a nice short week. Couple days of work, and then sweet, the weekend. Problem solved, But now I think
I assume while you were gone too, you sold our pallet of stuff for getting rid of it.
I kept, I thought someone offered to buy it on here. I said, sure, meet me at this time. Then they never came back. So if you just want to buy it at cost, it's there. Otherwise, now I got to list it again. I thought I was off the hook.
Yeah, it's been a calendar year officially.
Calendar year.
It's time.
The other part is obviously I was a little sad I didn't get to give my own personal thoughts on the Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
So maybe
we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Since you and I went to the premiere, and I'm still not totally sure we should have been invited to that. It felt slightly above our pay.
It was a very cool event. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on Monday. But there's some new info around the movie. Maybe we'll get to in terms of the ratings and how well it actually did. And I obviously will take full credit for that. So we'll get to that later on. But let's start talking some Chiefs. And it's funny because on Monday I said, I bet you guys said very similar things when I was gone talking about the Panthers game, which was, kind of just like, hey, it's not, here we go again. And there's, of course, all this national narrative around Kansas City. And you said something to me earlier this morning about this Chiefs team. And I don't know if I was surprised, but I think you definitely are in the majority nationally, and maybe, I don't know if you're in the majority of Chiefs fans, but you certainly are not alone. What did you say to me this morning about the Chiefs and the rest of the season?
I want to make it clear, because on this show we've made this very clear. I would not say there is no chance that the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, right? I understand how this works. I understand that, what would be the point in disbelieving in them? But if you asked me today to predict the Super Bowl winner, for the first time all season, I would not say Kansas City. I know I tried to heed Ryan Fitzpatrick's advice, who was on the show when you were gone, and I had said, look, it's one thing to play a bad game against a bad team once. It feels different to me when you play a bad game against a bad team twice. And he was like, nah, it's all the same. Bad games against bad teams count equally. It doesn't matter that they happen back to back. But there are now officially enough flaws with the team that I'm like, if you made me predict the Super Bowl winner, I don't think I could, in good reason or in good mindset, actually predict the Chiefs to do it anymore. Because their problems are just too big. Not that they can't solve them, because we can get into the DJ Humphries thing or some of the other offensive woes that could be out there. And I'll be honest, part of the big reason I'm running into this problem where it's like, hey, predict it, is I think in order to win the Super Bowl, they need to be the 1 seed. And in order to be the 1 seed, I'm starting to really fear that they're going to have to win out to do it. I think the Bills are significantly better than the Rams, which means they're winning this week. The Patriots and the Jets the final 3 weeks doesn't do anything, which means I am banking on them having one chance to lose one game for the Chiefs to not have to win out to get the number 1 seed versus just lose one game. And that is against a currently defensive depleted Detroit Lions team who feel like they're in a similar spot as the Chiefs where it feels like eventually this check's going to have to get cashed. Like you can't continue to be this injured and win every game. Like that's kind of how I feel about the Lions.
So I don't think anything you said is like inaccurate or like doesn't make sense. Like I think it's all valid, but I'll remind you, I know the exact day this happened on this show. We were out at Rally House. We were doing a remote. Nate Taylor, I think, had stopped by. We were out at the Rally House in Oak Park, and it was right before the start of the season. It might have been literally, it might have been the day before. And you and I had our weird debate about Red Friday or not Red Friday or whatever. and
I remember that more about the show than the other part.
But also in that show, we both agreed that, quote, unless the quarterback gets hurt, there is nothing that can happen that you can convince me they can't fix to win the Super Bowl.
Can't. And I'm not saying like a month from now, when the postseason starts 6 weeks from now, that my prediction might not change based on things that they fix. I'm just saying, as we sit here today, that's it. Part of this is this is kind of like a bigger conceptual thing. So no team's ever three-peated. We acknowledge that. We've talked about that in the NFL. There's someone who's always like trying to point out some like team from the aughts or something I don't care about. Okay, in the Super Bowl era, nobody is three-peated as a champion. And while last year I was really impressed by their ability to do it, claw, scratch, fight with a bunch of problems and all this stuff, I'm having a hard time getting over the mental leap that is the first team to ever three-peat is not going to do it. I figured the first team to ever three-peat would have 2 great years and one where they scrap together, whatever. Are you really here to tell me that the first team ever to three-peat is going to dogfight through hideousness twice in a row?
Hold on.
That's a weird thing. And last year is a little bit different. That's fair because they are 11-1.
That's what I'm saying. So like when you say like hideousness, like, oh my gosh, so hideous, they're 11-1.
I know.
Like, we don't need to rehash every little thing we've discussed about the Chiefs this week necessarily, but we all know the flaws that exist. I just think I'm not going to make the same mistake that I think a lot of people made a year ago. And yes, are there some differences compared to last year's turnaround compared to this? Does it require that a new left tackle steps in and improves their play? Sure.
Oh, God,
Does it require maybe Isaiah Pacheco getting back to what he was pre-injury? Sure.
There's plenty of hope for improvement.
Hollywood Brown having some role in this offense? Sure. I don't think all three of those are crazy asks, though. Charles Omenihu, does it require him playing at a high level and helping out Chris Jones? Sure, but I think I already kind of saw it happen in his first game back, getting 50% of the snaps. Chris Jones just magically gets 2 sacks when he's back. The only part that is not correctable is the secondary, in my opinion. Josh Williams
played
he's
pretty good.
better than Najee Johnson. He should be starting, but that's not something that you have reinforcements coming. I just think, man, like we're making the same mistake again if we're going to say, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they can do it. You're telling me that this team that looks like this can... Man, last year I was like, well, this year they can't do it because they're gonna have to go on the road. Mahomes gonna have to go on the road for a couple playoff games at Buffalo, at Baltimore. There is no way he can do that.
You and I were not on that.
No,
we
but
definitely
I'm just saying
sure.
that was the narrative, and sure enough, that obviously was not a problem. So it's just not crazy at all to think that this team can get it solved. We're going to learn a lot over the next 2 or 3 weeks, to your point about their schedule and why it's challenging. And I agree with you. The number 1 seed is massive for obvious reasons. Such an early bye. I mean, Chris Jones was talking about
because
it.
the way the Christmas days line up, you could essentially just take a month off of football and kick up your feet.
I just think, man, last year, the O-line wasn't great at times. They were turning the ball over way more than they are right now at this given moment, too. And we know they have drop city. This year, really not a drop problem. The O-line's a problem, but maybe it gets fixed with DJ Humphries. And, Mahomes, to me, is actually playing really good football the last 5 weeks. I know that's not, doesn't fit the narrative, oh, my gosh, he's having a bad year. He's actually playing really good football going back to, let's look at our trusty whiteboard that Dusty writes the scores in the game so I can make sure I get the right week. I would say
stats.
I would say he's played pretty darn good going back to
Bucks at least.
I mean,
maybe
I
Raiders.
would say that I'd go back to week 5 and on, week 7 and on. Post-bye week.
He was pretty bad against the 49er. Well,
28, they won by 10 points in that game.
But he was his stats were 150 yards and no touchdowns and a couple of picks in that game, if I remember.
All right.
So if we pretty much say from that point on, here, I'm looking at, let me pull up a game log. From that point on, Patrick Mahomes has, 5, 6, 9, 12, 13 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions. So since the Raiders game on October 27th, he has 13 touchdowns passing to just 3 interceptions, and he's completing about 69% of his passes for about 260 yards a game. So I mean, he's been pretty good since that stretch, and has been really good since. And people don't even realize he's like 8th in the NFL in passing touchdowns.
Well, yes, he's got
you
19.
might look 19, and you're like, well, that's way behind. Well, Burrow's got 30, so he's got way more, but everyone else is kind of in that same range. He's like 2 off of being in the top 5.
I was exactly.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
No, I mean you're
Not even
right.
looking at
I
it.
was just getting ready to talk about. I mean, he's 3 away from being top 5. I mean, he's 3 away from being top 5 in passing touchdowns. You know, we the yards. I don't really care about the yards, but some people do. Like if you start looking at even,
I care about getting the ball in the end zone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the yardage. Patrick Mahomes' yardage, that's where he's way off the pace compared to before. But I say way off the pace to get in the top 5 on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's 9th.
3,000 compared to he's 100 and what is it like 100 less than 100 yards away from being top 5 in yardage. I'm just saying,
Correct.
like, I think the narrative is overcompensated on the type of season. Like,
Agreed.
People act like he's having a terrible year. Look, he's not going to win MVP. That's going to be either Josh Allen or Barkley or Lamar still, and it looks more and more like it's going to be Josh Allen's year, and it probably should be. Mahomes
That's what I'd vote for.
not going to win. It doesn't mean he's not going to have it. When it's all said and done, I think people are going to look back and be like, you know what, actually, when the Chiefs are 15-2 when this season is done, and hopefully the number 1 seed, and Mahomes finishes after all this 4th in touchdowns, 4th in passing yards, I'm like, how foolish were people? Are you really going to make the same mistake? Like that's what's crazy.
Never bury.
Like
that's foolish.
that's the thing. Like some of the conversations are a little insane, and that's not to say we spent plenty of time this week discussing the flaws with this football team and all that. I refuse to make the same mistakes some people nationally made last year. And everybody after last season, I thought agreed. Like you're right, we can't we really shouldn't second guess Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, despite what happens in regular season. We really shouldn't do that. Plus, these games, I was talking about with Bob and Dusty 30 minutes ago when I was on with them. 80% of NFL games this year are one-score games. So for those of you that want them to win by 50, so do I, just not the NFL.
Wait, and I mean, God, is 10% of that the Detroit Lions?
Might be
I'm
this
not
year.
even kidding. Like, do they account for like 10% of the games that are one-score games this year? Because I feel like they've blown out more teams than just about anyone else.
Their point differential is
in the league.
insane. It's like 100 points more than the Chiefs, which is fine.
You mentioned the last year's team, and we knew last year's team was flawed. We talked about it all year, and obviously didn't stop them from accomplishing the ultimate goal. The problem is this is like where like nuance is always really challenging, because yes, the Chiefs definitively have a better record than last year's team. That's why they have a chance at the number 1 seed. But if you made me say which team was better, probably this year's. Like right now, I mean, probably this year's. But like, I wouldn't say it with conviction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The record is better. They're doing a better job at winning the close games that they lost last year. But I think that this team's is just as flawed as last year's team. And that's what I'm so confused by. Like how a team can just like muddle through this hideousness 2 times in a row to become the first ever 3-peat champion. It's crazy.
I'm not going to play the full audio again because we played it yesterday. But Tom Brady, I think, for those that
he
are
made
like,
a great point on Coward Show.
Hearing Tom Brady talk about it the other day, about that's what they dealt with the Patriots. And so when I hear Bill Belichick and Tom Brady speaking about, hey, we had a lot of seasons where people thought we were done and we were winning close games and it didn't look right, but we still found ways to win. And then those were the years where sometimes they won Super Bowls and we were all writing them off. That's exactly what's happening here. And the Chiefs and Patriots are very similar, very, very similar. And I know that's why Patriots fans sometimes get nervous because this is a franchise that's threatening their franchise.
And then we start saying crazy things like the Patriots are more likable.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday too, Cody. That was
sorry,
2 days ago.
what?
Yeah, that tweet was hilarious. Revisionist history, all-time revisionist history there. But I
murderer
think
on their team.
to your point though, like comparing last year, the team itself, I think last year the defense was dominant throughout the whole year, and it was all about could the offense elevate. This year, I think it's going to have to be the offense elevating, and I have I think it's going to. I think come playoff time, and this left tackle is a huge part of it, I think the offense is going to get right. The defense just has to improve a slight bit.
Yeah.
The defense doesn't need to get back, and it's not going to get back to top 5 defense. It's not going to get back to that. That's fine. Can the offense go from like the 10th or 11th? Can they elevate in the final few weeks of this season heading in the playoffs? Can they start playing like a top 5 to 7 offense? I tend to believe it's still possible because I think Mahomes is playing at that level. Now you need to give him an extra half second. An extra half second, DJ Humphries. That's what we're talking about. And if that happens, suddenly maybe the Worthy connection picks up. All of a sudden, Hollywood Brown, even if he just has 30% of the snaps for this football team because he's coming in so late to the party. If all of a sudden that guy is able to run some of the underneath Rashee Rice routes, because we heard from Mahomes how impressed he was with Hollywood Brown's route running all offseason. We just haven't seen it. All of a sudden, that helps. The running game complements that. You've got two running backs that can help each other in Hunt and Pacheco. I'm just saying, like, I think the offense gets there. The defense, that's why the offense has to get there, because the defense, to me, is not going to get to that level that's required. But the offense, I think, will.
I wonder if the reason why you're not as confident, Cody, is like what we said last week when Gold was out, when we were looking at teams that have top 10 in each category, offense and defense.
Chiefs are just barely outside that on offense right now.
Yeah, and they'd been falling defensively a little bit over the last few weeks, and we narrowed it down to, what, 5 teams total that are in that category? I don't know if you think that the Chiefs fall out of that just based on what we've seen on defense.
No, I said that they get
helps.
a couple of spots leeway because Patrick Mahomes exists.
That was what it was.
So, like, somebody had asked the very real question, what if the Chiefs fall to 11 points per game? I was like, they get more wiggle room due to the fact that Patrick Mahomes exists. And I still stand by that. Look, it's impressive that over those stats we gave for his last 5 games, what he's been able to accomplish. Because during that same time, those stats that I just gave you, that he has 13 passing touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, is averaging like 200 yards a game, all of these things, right? He has also been sacked 23 times in those games. So he's getting killed back there while in the middle of doing it. Obviously a big game this Sunday because it's a divisional game, which are always big. You have a chance to just win the AFC West again this early in the season. I can't believe somehow the Bills clinched theirs even faster than the Chiefs could possibly do this
AFC
Sunday.
is just trash.
Any chance you want to even entertain the AFC West being open for business if the Chiefs lose? It'd still be 2 games, right? It's dead either way, I think.
What this game is on Sunday, I think, is a confidence builder for the fan base. What I mean by that is, going back to the conversation we just had, the Chiefs have won 2 very close games in back-to-back weeks after losing to a playoff team in Buffalo. So they win close against Carolina, who's not any good, even if they're playing better. The Raiders, who aren't any good. And everybody's panicking. We all agree the Chargers are going to be a playoff team. And we all think the Chargers organizationally are headed in a pretty good direction. And so they're going to end up probably as a 6th seed in the postseason. If the Chiefs win on Sunday night, it is more about, hey, okay, that's right. Like, reminder for those of you out there, they're still beating playoff teams. It is still possible. And if they somehow do it in dominating fashion, and I don't know if that's going to happen. We really haven't seen any evidence to suggest that.
No, there's no evidence.
But if they do that, I think it's about a confidence builder. I'm not worried about the division. If they lose on Sunday, what you're worried about is now you need Buffalo to lose 2 games. And the number 1 seed becomes a real challenge to get for Kansas City because of the tiebreaker scenario. Then you're banking on, and you'll know before the game starts if Buffalo beat the Rams or not, right? Isn't that an afternoon game in L.A.? Yes. So you would know before the Chiefs even step on the field Sunday night if they already have a cushion if the Rams upset the Bills. Not really banking on that one. I'm banking on...
if they upset the Bills, then that game's means even more.
Then you can really distance yourself. So it's more of a confidence thing for the fan base, I think, if the Chiefs win Sunday night. They're like, hey, reminder, they can still beat these playoff teams. That's still a thing. Let's not forget, because the last 2 weeks it's all been about barely beating bad football teams.
Yeah, and I understand that part where it's just like, okay, losing a close, like, had they beaten the Bills in the way they just beat the Raiders, nobody cares. You won an ugly game against a good football team, no one cares. I don't care if they win 9-6 this Sunday, beating a team in your division with a winning record, with 8 wins or whatever. That's a win.
I don't know if Kansas City's blood pressure and everybody's hearts can handle a 9-6 game on Sunday night.
Matthew Wright game winner as time expires. They're down to their 3rd kicker. When's Butker due back? We got any update on that injury? I keep hearing about Hollywood Brown. Any update on the knee scope?
Honestly, with Butker though, have
they missed a kick, by the way, since Butker went down? I'm dead serious. Have they missed a kick?
Last
it was
last
short.
week.
It was short.
I think it was last week. Yeah, it was because right before half. Remember?
The
return. They almost returned. The Raiders had a nice little return.
That wasn't short. That was a long one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like a 50.
That was the hole where the 10-second runoff thing happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right before halftime.
Yep, that's right.
No, but to your point, Butker, to me, get him back for Week 18 so he can get a couple game kicks in Week 18 against the Broncos, and then I don't really care.
9-6 is a gross scoreline. That's just disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning to a 21-17 kind of thing on Sunday night.
Oh, a touchdown.
20-17.
I'm not as confident on you on the touchdown part. Maybe.
I mean, look, they won in Week 4 17-10, and they were down 10-0.
That feels pretty close. Well, kudos to the defense.
That defense was playing much better in Week 4.
I'll also say this, though. The Chargers' offense stinks. It's not good.
It's
Lad McConkey is good, and nothing else about that offense is extraordinary. He has turned them into Michigan football from last season, and they win a lot of games as a result of that because they are significantly better on defense, but they are also significantly worse on offense than they were
They
the
don't
last
open it
couple
up.
of years.
They
It's
opened
weird.
it up for one half this year, and that was because they were playing Cincinnati and everybody can score on them. And now the first half on Sunday Night Football, Herbert looked incredible. And in general, yes, they're going to play a very conservative style of offense. The problem for them and why their offense has not been as good recently, which is good for Kansas City, there's no J.K. Dobbins anymore. So they lost some of the explosiveness out of the backfield. It's Gus Edwards and it's the Vidal kid or Vidal. I don't know how to pronounce it.
They've taken all the risk out of their offense, and you can win more games that way. But like he only has one interception the entire year, which is crazy, Justin Herbert. But he only has 13 passing touchdowns, like 2,500 yards.
All you have to look at,
I hate looking at it.
all you have to look at in terms of like, hey, this is going to be a very close game. I'm with you in the region. I don't believe the Chargers are just going to go blow up offensively in this game. The Chargers had 4 interceptions off Kirk Cousins on Sunday against Atlanta, and they won. The Chargers did. They scored 17 points in the game. You know how hard it is to pick off another team 4 times and still only score 17 points? Oh, and they won. But, like, that's crazy.
I know. Like, to only get to that number.
Like, if I tell you in any game, like pick any team in football, how many if I tell you, like, hey, by the way, so-and-so picked off the opposing quarterback 4 times, you're assuming they scored at least 21 points in the game. Maybe 28 points. To have 4 interceptions and only score 17 means your offense has a problem. So I'm with you. It's kind of another, I don't know if we'll have the exact scores this past week. Another 19-17 game.
The identical score. Just 2 weeks in a row against divisional opponents. Ugh, I don't know, man. Barbara's texting into the show. Says, January, February, each of the last 2 years, what would make you doubt any confidence in
Well,
this
that's
team?
kind of my point, Barbara. That's
he's
my
on your
point.
side.
I'm agreeing with you, Barbara.
That's
what
said
I've been
if you
saying
made-
for weeks, that I have plenty of faith in this coaching staff. You have to view them differently than any other team. If this was any other franchise right now in football that was struggling offensively and
I'd
we would
be
say,
calling them fraudulent.
look at the Ravens, for example. Look at the Ravens right now. And the Ravens are actually an 8-win team, so there's real reason to be concerned. They're an 8-5 team. Their kicker's a mess.
The defense
Their quarterback
stinks.
has no playoff track record. Their coaching staff doesn't have a good playoff track record because they go away from their game plan of running the football like they did last year. No,
The defense stinks.
I've been saying, man, this is a Chiefs team that I absolutely will
happen to the
gladly
Ravens.
lean into history for them and their playoff success and use that as my reasoning while they'll figure it out.
Yeah, we've said that for weeks. Like, I would call them significantly more fraudulent if they were any. Like, if this were some NFC team playing this way, I'd be like, this ain't gonna work. This is not gonna work. The Chiefs and all the Super Bowl titles and everything else, it certainly ends that way. For instance, if either of the teams tonight, like Packers and Lions, were
This
winning
is a fun
this
one
way,
tonight.
this is I might be saying this because I predicted this. Is the
Oh,
NFC
here we
title
go.
game.
Here we go.
NFC title game preview, Packers and Lions. I mean, I don't see way off
certainly
base
can
here.
be, yeah.
What I like about this tonight is the last 2 times these teams played, we didn't actually get any kind of evidence of what both teams were like. Jordan Love was coming directly off of that injury. The Lions were a little healthier, but no Jamison Williams. Like, tonight is a better barometer of where these 2 teams line up against each other in what ends up being probably the most competitive division, the best division in football between the Packers and Lions. Thursday night football, for a Thursday night football game, this one's sweet. This is about as good as it gets, right? And they were both on Thanksgiving, so like they got normal rest. It's not like we shouldn't be expecting sloppy Thursday night football of teams who haven't been rested. Like, I'm actually, you know me, I skip a lot of Thursday night football gold. I'm actually kind of excited to watch this one.
Yeah, I'm with you about the Thursday night thing. This is different than a typical Thursday because they played on Thanksgiving last week, so you're not dealing with the short rest stuff. And that means I think we'll see quality play. The thing with the Lions right now, they're just banged up on defense. They have a ton of injuries across the board, including at linebacker, including
guys who aren't coming
in
back.
the secondary. I think this is a Packers team that's playing really good football right now, and this could be one of these games where the Packers are able to kind of swing the entire NFC. And what I mean by that is if the Packers were to beat the Lions fall to 11-2. The Eagles are 10-2. You know, like all of a sudden, after all this, the Lions could fall to a number 2 seed. I mean, it's kind of the same conversation we're having in the AFC.
Yeah, the Chiefs are kind of essentially riding the tightrope.
You know, not to poo-poo your NFC title game parade thing, I don't know if the seeding's going to work out for that to happen. That's the only thing. Like if the Packers are the 6th seed right now, so like if the Commanders,
they would face them early.
Yeah, like if the Commanders, who are the 7th seed, lost to 2 seed Eagles, well then the Packers, if they beat the Seahawks, the Packers would be going to Detroit in that hypothetical divisional round weekend. But I hear you.
And you don't even have to think about you have to think about the Eagles, but also the Vikings. The Vikings are 10-2.
Yeah, I just don't like that everybody seemingly is on the Packers to win tonight. And so was I last night.
Why are we all agreeing?
I had my betting show last night here on 96.5 The Fan. You can check out the podcast, Odyssey app, or wherever you podcast. But I never like when everybody is all on one side. Don't like it one bit. But it does seem like a pretty good matchup for the Packers, considering what they've been able to do. And as we discussed, and we'll discuss a little bit later on, I'm sure, with Paul Charchian for Fantasy Football, the Packers have struggled to get consistent big plays down the field, though, with their wide receivers, although maybe this is where there's an opportunity tonight.
We'll see. I mean, it's a massive implication game, you know? It could completely, like you said, Drew, open up the NFC playoffs where all of a sudden there's 3 teams with 2 losses and just a month left to go in the season. I love that.
Yeah.
Because the wild card races are done. We know all 14 playoff teams. I think it's done. Like, I don't even think there's well, hold on. Except for who's going to win the NFC South. So we know 13 of the 14 playoff teams.
Or the NFC West.
The only one
Colts.
I think we know it's the Broncos. I'll push back until after next week because the Broncos play the Colts head-to-head. If the Broncos win that, then the Colts are eliminated. If the Colts win, they're only a game back with 4 to go or 3
and
to
the
go.
tiebreaker because they would have beaten them.
So that's the only one. That's the only one. Other than that, I'm with you.
Whichever NFC South team manages to scrounge out.
And right now, it looks like
pile.
the Falcons might be one of the bigger disappointments in all of football. Like the Falcons are kind of crapping away that division for the Bucks. It looks like. All right, up next, let's talk a little baseball. We know the reports are out there about Juan Soto, but also maybe what's happening could be a good thing if enough owners are speaking out. We'll explain that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I recently had the opportunity to go down to Max Motors and find out firsthand how easy car buying can be. No, it doesn't have to result in a terrible headache and a stressful situation. That's because at Max Motors, they're upfront. They offer competitive pricing that eliminates the need for the haggling and therefore eliminates the stress that's accompanied by that. You think about the total cost of ownership when you're owning a vehicle. They're going to lay it all out there for you, not just focusing on the monthly payment, but truly walk you through what the car insurance could look like, what maintenance might be like on a used vehicle versus a new vehicle. That's exactly what they did for me as well. And they have the best financing options available at Max Motors, plus the Max trade-in in values in the Midwest. And right now, the largest heavy-duty sale of the year is going on. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. And new 2024 Ram 1500s up to $18,000 off MSRP. Stock number 90052. See dealer for details. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates well over 90%, which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off Berry Road and Prairie Drive in KC Mo, Friday, December 6th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare and you want out, you need to get the facts. Wesley Financial Group and its founder, Chuck McDowell, have helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshares permanently, and he may be able to help you too. Call right now. Chuck will send you a timeshare exit information guide free explaining how your timeshare works and all your options for cancellation. You want to call Wesley Financial Group, 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Once again, 800-761-0000.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com or call us at 833-SCALE-25. That's 833-SCALE-25.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist?
Huh, you don't say.
Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Cyber Week sale, save 20% on most Sleep Number smart beds, plus free home delivery with any base. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Just getting started here on a Thursday. We got the full crew back at it. Cody Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you.
I did, for your sake, mention to my class, we had our final class, their final podcaster due on
Anybody
Monday.
fail?
Nobody's failed yet. I mean,
Yet?
They have to bomb the final or not turn it in.
Okay, right.
You know, maybe it would get them in a little bit of trouble. But I did mention to them that you have interest in at least one of them speaking
Oh, yeah.
on this show.
Definitely.
I told him to consider it and get back to me. I said I did not need an answer
When your semester wraps up, I want
After
one
the grades are in.
one or two of the students to come in studio, maybe during a fan club.
Yeah.
Come in studio, talk about their experience, and I want honest answers about Professor Tapp. And I think we need to do this. I think the listeners want to know exactly what the students were thinking. Be honest. Like, when Cody first walked in, what was your first thought? The grade's already in. You can't do anything to punish him.
As he's giving you this 10-page syllabus, what are your thoughts?
We thought the syllabus was too long. Did you think it was too long? Yeah.
So I guess one follow-up question on whether or not this is allowed. I have now been asked to teach a second class at UMKC.
Of the
They
like
thought
a double
different-
class or a new topic?
Like a new topic.
Ooh, what's
so
this one?
It's like radio and television performance.
That one makes more sense.
I mean, I do at least half of those things for a living, and sometimes the other one. So, like, what if I have them in a different class? You think there's any? That isn't. I mean, I don't know them being on the show for 10 minutes going to affect my grading. They got to still do the work.
So you're going to teach two classes?
Maybe. They asked me. Said, will you teach it? I guess I haven't answered yet.
Are you going to ever see your children again?
You want to co-teach one?
I mean, sure.
Hell yes.
You and me, we can take turns every other week.
The radio one would be the one I would have interest in. That would be the one.
Cody
But
and
no.
Gold, I was going to say if it's a night class, which it would have to be. I was going to
They
say
just told me to choose the time.
You could say Cody and Gold after
Obviously
dark.
he's
like
not
Pac-12 after
picking.
dark.
He's obviously not teaching a middle of the day class. That
Well,
would work out.
right.
Could you imagine?
Right.
Actually, we teach it from here. They just watch us do this radio show. Lesson learned today, kids. Get your asses home. Write a paper on it.
All right, so we'll see if we can make that happen then. I want to see if we can get a student to come in and talk about their experience. Meanwhile, we know in Major League Baseball, it's kind of been an interesting week. Winter meetings are coming up next week, so that's why you're starting to hear more and more noise. One, you got the Juan Soto stuff out there and ridiculous money that's going to be spent. You also have the Royals this week announcing the one-year TV deal. We discussed that earlier. What is happening, according to David Sampson, who we've had on the show before, and we might have to get him back on here in a couple weeks, former Marlins team president, and he was talking that he's hearing from multiple owners that they're actually upset with the Dodgers right now.
And not just like the Royals
No. Like a majority
and
of the
Twins.
League, sounds like.
Yeah, and I take this as a really good sign, Gold, for the same reason I think you do. This is what we actually need to enact change. The way David Sampson, and it's kind of a longer clip, so I didn't want to play it on the show because I figured it's easier to talk about it. David Sampson says in his conversation with other people around the league, and he's connected enough, he was a former team president, that they're pissed that they keep doing this deferred payments. And that's not the spirit of the ability to do it. They have currently $1 billion in future payments way down the road, thinking that what they can do is stack the deck, pay no one now, become a dynasty, win all the World Series, and then pay them 15 years from now when $1 billion won't be $1 billion. It won't hold the same value. It will mean less to them then than it means to them now. It's genuinely going to ruin the sport. And if enough owners agree with me that it might ruin the sport, like, I don't know, the Yankees and others who might have Juan Soto stolen for them because they won't pay $1 billion 15 years from now, maybe we can finally get an actual change.
And so I kind of alluded to this yesterday. I think the only chance at there being any sort of real Major League Baseball change as it relates to salary cap or salary floor and thing like that, or limiting deferred payments or whatever it may be, is if it gets so absurd that even teams like the Yankees and the Mets are pissed off
the big boys.
At the Dodgers. And that's why there's part of me truly, I know he's not signing here anyway, there's part of me truly that wants Juan Soto to actually sign with the Dodgers.
And every other free agent that's available,
they already
right?
signed Blake Snell. Get Soto. Then next year, I hope they sign the next $600 million free agent. I don't know who a free agent is in 2 years, but you get my point. I want it to be so absurd that even the Yankees are like, what are we doing here? That's the only way you're going to ever get the Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, these big markets to agree that something has to change as the sport will continue to separate further and further than what it already is. And that's what it has to be. Now, as far as it relates specifically to the Dodgers right now, I'll be honest. If I'm the Dodgers, I'd be doing the same thing. I don't have an issue with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of hate it.
But I hate it. I'm saying if I was part of the Dodgers ownership group in the front office,
so what are you going to do about it?
I got access to all this money. I'm not breaking any rules. They let me do it, and I can win It's not cheating. It's not. Like, they're following the rules. Until baseball tells me I can't do this, I want to bring championships to my fans. I actually don't have an issue with how the Dodgers are doing it. I like the concept sucks as other cities and other markets. I just mean, like, what the Dodgers are doing, I'd be doing the same thing if I could. Like, if John Sherman was worth, and his ownership group was worth, $50 billion, and they could do the same thing, I'd be saying, let's do it. Let's go. We don't love it. But in general, it sucks for the sport, and I hope it almost gets so ridiculous that it forces change. And it sounds like there's at least some people talking about it.
We're getting closer because that's the only way we're getting. So this goes back all the TV thing and the Royals choosing Diamond instead of going to the in-house. Major League Baseball won. It's only a year, so they could be right back with baseball next year. It doesn't really matter. But is that I think people don't truly understand. This is where, like, somebody said, well, like, you judge the Chiefs season or the Royals season, like, would you give them credit just for making the postseason? In Major League Baseball for a small market team? Yeah, that's a winning season. I'm sorry. If the Royals make the postseason in any year, the season was a success. They are a small market team, and I do not think most people fully grasp the scope in which the inequality exists. What you see is just what we're talking about. The Dodgers spend $350 million, $1 billion of which is 10 years from now, and the Royals spend $120 million. You're like, man, 200. That's only the beginning. The Dodgers have a staff that is 3 times the size of the Royals. They have pitching machines that cost $500,000 a year just to lease, and they have 10 times of them more than the Royals. There is no equality in this sport at any conceivable level. And there was one tiny thing that everybody wasn't doing, and the Dodgers are like, what if we just started treating that as an inequality too, and decided they could just pay everyone 15 years from now? And I'm like, this. So I'm hoping that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. That this is finally the last thing that, like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. And they start policing at least a couple of these things in baseball.
The pitching machine that you're talking about, we've heard a lot about that. Someone explained to me why Major League Baseball, the league itself, doesn't just buy the company that makes those. I don't know who that is. Why? What?
And then just every team gets 3 of them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you would think.
Why? Who knows who that company is? I have no clue. I haven't researched this. It's just off the top of my head. I'm like, as you were saying, I'm like, how come Major League Baseball doesn't just buy that company? Therefore, the owners buy the company, and then every team, like, it's just no, like, every team has. The answer is, why would the Dodgers help everybody out? Why would the Yankees help everybody out? But that to me is something. Major League Baseball should buy that company, and every team is getting multiple of these machines anyway.
When all this stuff was happening, recently, the Juan Soto stuff, and then I saw that Vinny had sent out a tweet about Blake Snell, and so I someone in the front office told us about these pitching machines, and I did all this research, and I'm like, yeah, these are nuts. I asked Vinny, I said, hey man, how crazy are these pitching machines hit off? He's like, it's crazy. It's like you're actually hitting against Cole Reagan's, okay? Like, they can mimic his pitch shape.
Go Google or
they
go
can mimic
YouTube.
Every part of everything he does is a pitcher, and only some teams in baseball can afford this. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, like it's an actual video image of the pitcher. Like it's a video in the same cadence, or however you want to describe it, motion. I should say wind up, everything. And this isn't just your slow pitch softball machine. Or,
you and I heading over to the 3 and 2.
Yeah, this yeah. This thing is like a video game. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can watch the video on Instagram. There's a couple videos out there that someone was asking, like, what do you mean 500,000? No, it's a real thing.
You might be right. You and I are, you know what we've become in this? We're so mad at baseball's inequality, we've become Thanos. We're hoping that they'll destroy themselves to the point that it just has to restart. We're Bane in Batman. That's what they've turned us into. We're hoping to burn down the city so that it can rise from the ashes. You know what, Dodgers? Go for it. Sign Juan Soto and every other major free agent that's ever existed, I guess, forever, until the rest of baseball hates you so much that maybe finally we get like a salary cap and floor.
We need Major League Baseball to burn to the ground.
Not bad.
There you go, Drew.
That's what we're turning into.
There you go.
Rooting for the demise of the sport.
A reminder, coming up a little bit later on today in the noon hour, Danan Hughes going to join us. We'll talk to the former Chief, and we'll get his perspective. He, of course, will be on the call right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs-Chargers at Arrowhead. We also have a little fancy football conversation coming with Charch in the 1 o'clock hour. So in the NFL this week, the story has been around the Texans and their linebacker, Al Shahir, and the dirty hit That's what it was. I'm sorry. On Trevor Lawrence. And I understand there's a further conversation to be had, as we said yesterday, that there's some situations that quarterbacks put the defenders in an impossible spot, and you're asking them to defy gravity, basically. That's, to me, not what happened here. So he gets suspended 3 games. That's not new news. He appealed it. The latest update from last night is the appeal was denied. Probably not surprised to see that. So he's not going to play against the Chiefs, which is good news. I don't want him getting a cheap shot on Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Bingo.
Last night, though, on his Instagram, he sent out a message, and it had, like, the Joker image, and he said, if you want me to be the villain, I'll be your villain. First of all, I don't know how many casual NFL fans even know who the hell this guy was until this. And he's actually been a pretty good player in his defense in the NFL with the 49ers as well.
Yeah.
But I bet you most casual NFL fans had no clue who this dude was. Now we do.
No.
Look, it's one thing to disagree with the appeal. Like, now you're trying to paint yourself as this villain. Like, one, he just comes off like a complete a-hole. It means your apology to Trevor Lawrence is looking even phonier.
Oh, yeah.
You're not so what do you, you're the villain of the league. When you come back, you're going to have another dirty hit in 4 games when you're back from your 3-game suspension. You're headed on the Vontez Burfict path. That's where he's headed.
I think he's pretty close, actually, after the hit on Trevor Lawrence.
He's headed in that direction.
He's there. What was that, his 5th unnecessary roughness or 4th?
Well, that was part of the reason they said that they suspended him as long as they did.
It wasn't just that hit. But look at his reaction. Like, so this idea of like, he's going to adjust. No, he's not. This is who he is. And now, it's one thing to like embrace the hate. We joke about that as a fan base. This is further than that. You potentially could have, if we're going to go to the extreme, you could have ended a guy's career. Fortunately, you did not. But you could have ended a guy's career, and you're trying to act like you're like, don't play some martyr. Don't play that game with me.
What do you? Oh, it's football. What do you want me to do? And look, there are plenty of people who will back him up because of this, because of the old football fans are like, it's a physical sport.
Sure.
What am I supposed to do? Not hit him? I do think that they have to look at, I really do think they have to look at one thing in football, which is, what if they just eliminated sliding? So then there's like no more, like, you just have to fall forward like wide receivers do. In a lot of ways, does that not seem a safer way to go down than the slide? Because
there's
in the
less
slide,
gray area.
Well, and in the slide, you've completely given up
you're just there.
Yourself to getting crushed. At least when you're going down, you are kind of controlling your body in a way where you're trying not to get kind of like killed. Like, I don't know if that's not better is all I'm saying. Like, if that's not a safer bet. Same thing applies. You can jump forward and try to protect yourself a little bit more than normal. But like, the physical act of sliding seems kind of stupid in the sport of football is all I'm saying. Like, now that I'm looking at it more,
there's debate around it.
I think there's an argument that like you just get rid of like that action, not the protection.
Former players have agreed with you. There's definitely a conversation to be had, in this era where the NFL tries to at least pretend that they're protecting, quarterbacks. I still think that the reason why I got suspended too is like, that circumstance wasn't just the, hey, I was going full speed. I couldn't stop. It sure looked like
there was like a 2 Mississippi.
He launched himself towards Trevor Lawrence. I get what you're saying. It's why I love the audio. I don't know if you heard it. We played the Mahomes audio yesterday during his press conference. Let me see if I pull it up again. His answer I thought was so good. You could tell he's a little ticked off because people tried to make that hit.
They tried to make it about
They
him.
said Max Crosby on a podcast said Mahomes takes advantage of being like he bends the rules when running along the sideline.
Right. They tried to make the Trevor Lawrence hit as if that was caused by Patrick Mahomes. It was the most ridiculous thing. I loved Mahomes' answer. Let me play it again for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just playing football at the end of the day, and I don't feel like I've ever put anybody in jeopardy of not wanting to hit me. I mean, I know when you get an open field, guys want to hit you, and I get down when I feel like it's necessary to get down, but there's times in big spots in the games where I know I need to get first downs, and I go for it. It's not taking advantage of any rules. I think more than anything, it's me being smart in the moment of knowing when not to and when to go for it. And you've seen that from me in the playoffs, and I feel like you see that from me in big spots in games because I know that sliding at that moment is not going to get us the win, and I'm all about winning.
So is there somewhere, if you're Trevor Lawrence, like it's weird for me to blame the guy who got knocked out of the game, which is what some people were doing. People trying to blame Trevor Lawrence. But in certain circumstances, the quarterback knows when he has to go get that yard, and that's what Mahomes is saying. But to blame Mahomes' sideline stuff to that, not even the same circumstance. When Mahomes fakes people out of the sideline, you can still shove them out. You guys have just chosen not to.
Yes.
This was sliding down in the middle of the field, and a player decided to launch themselves towards the head of Trevor Lawrence, and
Mahomes
that's what
has never
knocked him out.
leaned, arched his back, like what happened in college. He's never done anything like that. He's run, standing, straight up. And somehow they try. That was a weird thing as part of this, that the entire league's fan base, but that's also what comes from the villain. This is a hit that has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with your team, was not involving the team in which the quarterback plays for. But the first thing people think of is, but that time Mahomes took advantage of it. And they're probably looking back to that Osai hit on the sideline when the Cincinnati Bengals got charged for a rightful penalty on Patrick Mahomes, shoving him 4 or 5 yards out of bounds. Like, this has nothing to do with him. I just think, like, the act of sliding is unnatural on a football field, and it might actually make for a greater chance of being hurt. Obviously, this whole thing goes back to the same thing. Protecting the quarterbacks, I can't blame them for doing that in the league, and they should continue to do that. Enforce as many rules as you want on keeping those players safe, including handing a 3-game suspension for a guy who, like, by the way, if it wasn't a quarterback, don't fly with your head as a missile. It's like the one thing they've asked you to stop doing in the league.
Yeah, and again,
don't
I
lead like
think,
this, like you're Ralph Wiggum going through the window of a bus.
Okay.
You run your own risk.
I think sometimes we do ask defenders to do the impossible.
Sure. It's a hard sport, and people are moving fast.
I'll say it for the 100th time. Like, that play to me wasn't that example. But there are plenty of examples where you're asking a cornerback or a linebacker to do something that's just not possible with gravity. When they're going 100%. Like, you just
20 miles
you just
an hour.
can't do it. So we'll get back to this, I'm sure, a little bit later on in the show. I got a quick update on something. Someone just informed me. Yesterday, our random question was about the one fast food item you would like to bring back, because for whatever reason, I was thinking about chicken selects. Remember those from McDonald's? Mm-hmm. Okay, those were very good. And so we got down this rabbit
Kind of a
hole.
more chicken tendery style.
Yeah, are they actually bringing them
Instead
back?
of the chicken nugget.
So we brought this up, and everybody was chiming in about old snack wraps and things like that. Did you just see the tweet from McDonald's, the official McDonald's Twitter account?
I don't follow the official McDonald's.
I don't either, but someone tweeted it to me.
Okay.
Here's the tweet. Snack wraps, XX.XX.2025. As in, there's a coming, a pending
So they're bringing
date.
back snack wraps.
Snack wraps. Now let's do chicken selects. But the day after we talked about the snack wraps, McDonald's is out here announcing the launch of snack wraps again. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Hang on.
Shout out to McDonald's.
By the way, the tweet right before that one was them responding to a question on their website that says, how does Grimace breed? So I don't know what's going on the McDonald's app, but clearly they got some sort of like 20-year-old handling their social media now. So snack wraps are coming back?
Snack wraps are coming back in 2025. They just need to do the chicken selects, but
I don't think I ever had a snack wrap.
Oh, you're missing
I didn't
out.
like those as much. The chicken selects is
My
what
wife
prompted the
loves
convo, but why not McDonald's? You know what?
I'm about to send her a screenshot.
You
of
guys
their
remember
tweet
when
right now.
Burger King had tacos?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real thing.
they had like 10 tacos for $10, dude.
Their
They didn't just have
tacos-
tacos; they had cheap tacos.
They were like the Jack in the Box tacos, like that real thin taco, like
the one that,
fried-
that breaks apart in your hands,
like
but
the
it's
real
pretty good.
thin kind of fried taco. Like, yeah.
I did not know that
Anyway,
Burger King had tacos.
that's just funny update because we literally yesterday.
They're teasing it, but it's actually going to be December of 2025. Like, we're going to have to wait a whole year.
Oh, it could be. It's happening in 2025. Hopefully, we don't have to wait till. Although snack wrap seems summery, doesn't it? Right? Doesn't that seem like you don't release the snack wrap in December? That's when people are eating chili and heavier, heartier foods. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
I think snack wrap is a May launch. I'm calling it now. A May launch.
I think right after like Lent. When's Lent? Isn't that a thing?
In
You
April,
can't eat
isn't it?
chicken during.
yeah.
I mean, I know it's a thing. I just don't know when it.
I think it's
exists.
April, right? Around Easter. Wouldn't
Yeah,
that be it?
yeah, around Easter. So at the end of Lent, that's my official call. The Monday after Lent.
Fair enough.
I don't.
If you get that exact day right, that's very impressive. It actually is.
I'm giving
it
a
actually
very
is the
specific
day.
date for when the snack wrap comes back. We'll see. We'll see.
Thank you for passing that along. JCJ on Twitter. Thank you.
trying to think about now which fast food item I wish would come back.
Yeah, that was the question yesterday,
I don't
man.
feel like there was one that I was like ever married to. I would want them to bring back the things of my childhood, which were the Dominator and the Bigfoot. Those were the pizzas we would get from Domino's and Pizza
okay.
Hut. They were
Oh,
like
you
the
brought up the
size,
Pizzone thing.
That were
Somebody
the
said
size
Pizzones,
of
yeah.
a dining room table. They could feed the entire Tap family, the Dominator. I mean, it was like, as a kid, felt 10 feet long, probably like 3 feet long. Felt like it was 10 feet long as a kid. Dude, it was the whole table. Never had to worry about getting seconds or thirds. It was great.
Yeah.
Great. Probably
we
does.
learned yesterday from Drew that he'd never had Taco John's before.
No.
The
Yeah,
potato
never had Taco
Lays.
John's.
We're like, and there's one right very close to where he lives, at least.
I haven't had it often, but it feels like you should have in a tub as a Kansas City.
Someone brings up a good point. They said, Gold, didn't they put the chicken select inside the snack wrap? Won't they have to bring them both back? It was like a fried chicken inside the snack wrap. That's true. I don't know.
It was fried chicken.
I mean,
You're halfway to the chicken select.
Hey, you're right. Maybe we're on to something.
How many chicken things do they have at McDonald's? They have the McChicken. They have
chicken Big Mac thing?
yes.
I've never tried it. I'm still.
I haven't
refuse to try
either.
that,
I'm not
but
going to.
I don't want to.
Cody, I didn't like the regular.
I
Big
will
Mac
say
that
this,
much.
Cody. Gold offered me this. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah. We'll get to,
Matt Nagy's order at McDonald's.
Yeah, yesterday I told Drew he can get out of his 24-hour McDonald's challenge if he does the same order as Matt Nagy.
Which
Remember the order?
Long ball, what was the order?
A Big Mac, no pickles, a double cheeseburger, no pickles, a fish fillet, a 6-piece nugget with barbecue, hot fudge sundae, and a Diet Coke. I throw it all away when I'm done eating it in the garage trash before I go inside to the kitchen.
I told Drew he can do it during a show.
fair to Matt Nagy.
Other than that fillet of fish, man.
That was gonna be tough.
Matt McMullen did it on video. Props to McMullen. Oh, that's the Domino's thing.
Matt ate all of it?
Yeah, McMullen did.
My stomach's. I can't.
Or at least on video, they made
I
it
don't
seem like
think-
he did.
I don't
know if he
think I'd
actually did.
be
Love
able
ask him.
to. I wouldn't be able to eat if I tried to eat all of it. Because I don't think I would be able to eat all of that food. I'm gonna be totally honest.
You decide. I think that's a much better path
That
for
is
you.
I think that's a better deal for you.
All right.
Can I get the day off the next day? Because if I have the
Let's do it on a Friday.
fish fillet, I don't know what it's gonna do.
We'll do it on a Friday. You can be miserable all Saturday.
Oh yeah, great.
Up next, we'll get to the 11 o'clock hour. The single biggest thing you're actually confident the Chiefs do well at this point. I don't think this is as challenging as some are making it out to be. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First bets let you get on the action from the opening tip. You can bet on things like who's going to score that first basket, which team's going to be the first to 15 points, and so much more. And best of all, you don't have to wait for the whole game to see if you won. Maybe you're not going to watch the entire NBA game. This is perfect for you. And best of all, you don't have to wait for the results later on to pay you out, right? It's going to be pretty quick. Just look for Friday First in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to claim your Friday First profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Life is short, and if we spend our time suffering with pain and it takes away our joy, that's not a very good way to live.
He's right. It's hard to be happy when you're in constant pain. QC Kinetics patient Chad admits the chronic pain in his knee really robbed his quality of life.
When I was going to the traditional doctor and getting the pain pills, my smile wasn't as big as it usually is. Going to my high school reunion on crutches, it was awful.
But then Chad visited QC Kinetics. He experienced the real power behind natural regenerative treatments. Using healing properties from his own body, QC Kinetics was able to restore and repair damaged tissue, finally giving Chad lasting relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime.
And I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
Learn how advanced regenerative medicine can help your body heal itself at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Is your home or business ready to take on the cold? At Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling, we're here to keep you warm and worry-free. From quick tune-ups to emergency repairs, our team does it all. We've been keeping the community cozy for over 30 years, and we're ready to help you beat the freeze. Contact Comfort Systems today and stay warm all winter long. Comfort you can count on, right here in your neighborhood. Comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. And tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Listen to the Chiefs and Chargers game on Sunday with pregame starting at 4, kickoff just after 7 with Mitch, Danan, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on a Thursday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Trash of the day coming up in about 17 minutes. I think it's, unfortunately, a story we've all been keeping an eye on the last 24 hours. Really bizarre, almost right out of a movie kind of stuff, so we'll get to that a little bit later on in the half hour. You guys can keep interacting with us, as always, on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Someone wanted me to bring up something else to fill you in on when you were gone. People want me to fill you in on multiple things that
Okay,
has
what did
happened.
I miss?
The other one I forgot about. It was a random question a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Drew asked the question, what should he do? Which is obviously a very general question. You're like, what is that? Well,
Yeah, we like the random question for life advice.
He told the story that he's hearing his neighbors above him. And I was like, okay.
Hearing them-
Well, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, and what was the sound, Drew? And I was like, oh, and he wouldn't say what was happening. And flat out, we finally got to the point that his neighbors are having very loud sex above him.
Define very, or how often? Like once a day?
That was the other thing.
no,
3 times
no.
a week. I was like, good for them. And And so he was asking what he should do, and I said, dude, you either have to move or you just deal with it. I mean, this is that's apartment living. 100%. Text line wanted me to make sure you were aware of this and what Drew was going to do about it. The answer is nothing.
Well, yeah, correct. I'm not doing anything.
Also, define very loud. Just the bed is making noise, or you're also hearing some discussion?
I'm hearing both of them.
Yeah. Everybody that's lived in an apartment, again, everybody has been in that spot where they know. Usually, it's not above you. Usually, it's just like the wall next to you.
Just put some music on or something.
He said he's used a sound machine. It's still going through.
Sound machine still is not
getting it done.
I asked him, like, hey,
the sound machine's not getting it done.
I asked him, is this like a young couple? Are they in their early 20s? Are they older?
I think they have to be.
I mean, I just said, you know what? It's the way life goes. You're living in an apartment. Good for them. I go, correct. It also goes both ways. You think they don't hear you? I'm just saying.
Correct. Yeah, that's.
We always try to pretend like, you in your brain, you'd like
Drew's trying to bleep block over there, I think is what's happening.
You can't do anything, dude. There's nothing to be done.
I'm not. I think, to me, the bed is whatever. It's we're hearing a certain explicit version of a segment we do. That's what I'm hearing from both individuals.
Like, get into it a little bit, I don't know.
You should try it sometime.
Oh, no, I understand.
Wait, what time of day?
That was the other part of this whole equation.
What time of day?
It's 10:30. Drew thought it was too late. I'm like, when do you think they're
too late?
Yeah, so I said 10:30 seems like
when you're on the other end
of bed.
When you're on the other end of it.
3 in the afternoon?
That's what these are all things that I brought up, Cody.
I'm not saying. If you asked me to pinpoint the time frame in which it is most common that I have sex, 10:30 might be it on the nose.
I know.
I mean, that might be to the clock, the median time in which I am most commonly having sex, I would say. After kids go to bed, late enough, there's kind of a lot of stuff factored.
Text line says, Drew, is it not prompting you and your wife, to start your own?
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that if you're on the other end of it, where you're just trying to go to bed or you're getting ready for bed and you're
white noise.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was also something you missed when you were gone. That was a fun conversation that we had.
Noted. I mean, let me know. I guess the other things I missed.
Yeah.
Good start.
Meanwhile, let's get back to the Chiefs for a second, because I asked the question before the break, and I actually don't think this is as difficult as maybe it would seem on the surface and the negativity that might exist for an 11-1 football team. What do you think is the one thing that they do the best right now as a football team? Because I mean, if you're asking for just an area of the game, I think it's pretty easy, and their numbers back it up. That is, they are far and away the best team on third downs in football. They are the best in, that's a crucial down last time I checked.
Pretty important one.
51% conversion rate. Half the time, which in general, you're like a coin flip, so I don't like that. But for third downs, that's great. 51% of third downs, they convert. They're almost at 52%, at 51.8. The next closest is the Bucs at 47, Ravens 46, Lions. If you're like, let me find out about a good team, Okay, the Lions, who everybody thinks is the most incredible football team ever, 45% of the time. So I'm just saying, there's other flaws, but that's a pretty big thing to be good at.
To your point, I would say from an even broader scale than that, they are better than about 95% of the league in maintaining a drive. And that includes third down. But that also probably means they're good on first and second down and getting themselves into third and manageable and all things. Because, if you take it too broad, if you say, are they good on offense? Are they good on defense right now? You're like, I mean, not really great at either at the moment, at this specific moment. They're not playing great on either side. I think genuinely the thing they are, this sounds so stupid. The thing they're the best at is having Patrick Mahomes. But if we're just narrowing it further down than that, or taking it to a point of not just saying that, because that goes back to the Tom Brady clip I'm sure we had talked about earlier in the show, which is just the reason why they're hard to beat in one-score games is when it's late and when the Chiefs have to score, now you have to stop them 4 times. And teams aren't even all that good at stopping them 3 times, as you previously just mentioned, Gold. So what do you think your success rate is going to be if instead of having to stop them the 1 time, which you already can't, you have to do it twice in a row consecutively? The odds usually don't go in your favor. Here's what I actually think that they're the best at. If you said, what is the single thing that brings you the most confidence is, I do not care that I do care that the defense is playing poorly. I think completely undersold in the defense is playing poorly is, despite any problem you have on the defense, they are still good at eliminating the other team from scoring points. They played objectively bad against the Raiders. How many points did the Raiders get?
17.
I mean, they didn't even play a good game on defense. They played bad against the Broncos on defense. How many points did they give up?
What, like 13, 14?
Yeah. So, like, part of me is just, I think that they are the best team in the league defensively at somehow, even when things are going poor defensively, eliminating points from getting out of control.
The old bend but don't break thing is what you're kind of getting at times.
And I know that scares people for a lot of reasons. They are better than that at most teams in the league, because when things are going as bad as they are defensively over the last few weeks, Kansas City were like, they're getting beat up in the pass, and Aiden O'Connell's tearing them up for 300 yards a week after Bryce Young tore him up for some numbers. Normally that comes with letting up points. It's not. Consistently, it has not been that way. I know the Panthers got some, but consistently it's not been that way.
Over on the text line, 913-586-7965, people have brought up a few things with the third down stat in general. They're like, well, that's because maybe they're not having as many possessions. All true. They have had fewer possessions. In that Bills game in particular,
they only had, down's even more important.
They only had 8. So, someone said, well, maybe that's why the conversion. You can definitely push back on the third down stat, but I'm just saying, you're asking, what is something I'm confident they're good at? Third downs. Like, you would like to not get to third down, of course, but they are. And you're like, hey, well, maybe other teams aren't getting to third down. I told you, though, the Lions are also in that top 5 or so. How about fourth down conversions? You would love to not need a fourth down conversion. The Chiefs are the second best team conversion rate on fourth downs. The Lions, who we all think are amazing, are 9th. The Eagles, who everybody loves right now, they're 7th. So it's not like the Chiefs are in the company of like, oh, third down and fourth down doesn't matter. The only bad teams are good at that because they don't convert. No, the Chiefs are in the company of other playoff teams. Out of let me just see the math on this here. Third down conversions, how many of these teams are playoff teams that are in the top 10 in third down percentage? The Chiefs, that's a playoff team. Bucks, I think, will be a playoff team. We'll see.
Think so.
Ravens, playoff team. Lions, playoff team. Cincinnati, not a playoff team. Commanders.
Well, they're great on offense. They are miserable.
Commanders, Commanders going to be a playoff team. Eagles going to be a playoff team. Dolphins, not. Steelers are. Okay, so what is that? 7. The 10th is the Vikings. So was that 8 of the 10 teams that are top 10 in third down percentage are playoff teams. So it's not like you can't tell me it's a stat that it doesn't matter. Bad teams are also good. No, when 8 of the 10 teams that are top 10 in third down percentage conversion rate are playoff teams, that's not a coincidence.
Well, they've also been one of the best special teams team in the league. Go ahead.
On both sides, really, on offense, kicking, and then on defense, of course, the blocks and everything. I think. To the point, because there's been people who have texted in, Gold, when you brought up the running thing, and this has come up, I know this is a little bit off topic, but it relates to the third downs, is when you're only averaging, yes, they might only be averaging 2 or 3 yards per carry recently, but that gets you to 3rd and 4, which is 3rd and short compared to a lot of other teams. When you're looking at who the Chiefs are playing, the Raiders are having 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s. The Chiefs are having 3rd and 4 where, what do they do? They can't throw the ball deep. Their bread and butter is short passing game. 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s. Just get those 2 or 3 yard gains and then set yourself up to convert that third down, which you do better than anybody else.
Yeah, it's a grind out offense, but that opens up the whole other thing of why we both think the offense could be better. If instead of 3 yards a carry, which is pretty much what Kareem Hunt is good for at this stage, consistently, mind you, which is why they're always in 3rd and short. What happens if one of those is for 8 yards and it's 2nd and 2? And
Take
now
a shot then.
All of a sudden you have, because like pretty much what it's been is it's 2nd and 7, then it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, and half the time they're really good at converting those into downs and converting those into third down. They're the 3rd best team in the league at taking a new set of downs and converting it at least into a first down and converting those things into first downs. But if instead it's 2nd and 2, well then they maybe can. And I know the earliest timeline right now estimate is week 15, I believe, for Hollywood Brown. I was out, so like I thought that's what I saw.
He can't get cleared until week 15. He has, according to Ian Rappaport, he has a follow-up, a final clearance
that week.
Week 15. So 16, I think, is being realistic for when he could play.
And I mean, but like that's another person you can throw too deep. So if Pacheco comes in and this week is ready to go and things are going normal and all this other stuff, it's why like the offense is where I have far greater hope. And look, week 16 is not that far away. That's like 2 more games.
That's the Browns game. That's the Browns game, isn't it?
Sorry,
that's the Texans game.
The
Texans game, yeah.
The Browns week is the week that he would have his final clearance before. And we know the Chiefs, if he has an appointment on Tuesday to clear him to play,
Christmas
he's
against
never playing that
That's why I think his first game might be Steelers Christmas.
I agree, because they'll want the time off. They don't, and they just did this for the other 2 injured players with Pacheco and Aminihu. Playing him against the Texans means he's got to play again in 4 days. They're never going to do that. That's just not. So either he's playing the Browns game or he's playing the Steelers game. Part of me tells you it's a lock. It's not the Texans because that's just not how they've traditionally operated. It's maybe not totally that way, but at least plays that way.
Also, this gets back. They haven't had to do it because of other injuries and stuff, but it gets back to the roster crunch question. We wondered what they would do when Kareem Hunt and Pacheco are both available. What would they do with Pirine, Steele, and Clyde? Clyde hasn't been active on game day, but they've continued to keep, what is that, five? Is that 5 running backs?
Yeah.
My math right now?
Five.
I'm running 5. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So what happened when Hollywood Brown's available? Somebody else is going to have to.
But then it's later in the season. Maybe
I know there'll be another injury. I know. I'm just saying it's kind of interesting how they play that out.
If we're looking at the running back that could be gone, maybe I know they
I
haven't.
still think it'd be Clyde. I think they're doing Clyde a favor by holding him on the roster. They're trying to get him the service time so he can get the mental health services.
They deserve a lot of credit.
They do.
For how accommodating they have been to the sensitive nature of that situation with Clyde.
I actually got a chance to catch up with Clyde at the Hallmark movie.
He was at the premiere. I know.
Oh, nice.
He was. I said
Cool.
that's a pretty sweet necklace. He was wearing a blinged out snowflake.
Of course, yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, "Do you just like winter?" And he was like, "No." He said his mom said when he was younger that she always wanted like a diamond snowflake necklace, so he got him a matching.
Sweet. That's very cool.
So, and he thought, well, if there's a time to wear a diamond snowflake necklace, it is at a Hallmark movie premiere,
he
a
was
Hallmark
there.
Christmas movie premiere. I was like, look, man, I can't even argue the logic. That's very sound.
He was there with his wife because he had a cameo in the Hallmark movie.
He did. Look, back to Clyde, not the running game in general. What you had mentioned about Pacheco. Can we, so this is they're at the stage of the offensive defense where I don't think bad ideas are bad ideas. I think this is everyone agrees that the Chiefs treat the regular season essentially like it's the preseason before the playoffs, which means, in my opinion, experimentation is welcome in the regular season. Can we, for one game, just get the Chiefs to hand the ball off 40 damn times and find out if you can be a running team with this trouble at left and right tackle? Let's just find out one time. Let's just find out if you can be the 3 years ago Baltimore Ravens or Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry, because in the crunch times, you'll still have Patrick Mahomes. You can still rely on Patrick Mahomes, all that stuff. He has been doing the opposite. In the middle of having massive problems at tackle, Andy Reid's been trying to pass himself out of this situation. Pacheco's ready. He got his little half-game warm-up. Hand him the ball 30 times against the Chargers, and let's do this thing.
Yeah, that was my huge problem with the game. 46 passes against the Raiders in a 19-17 game. Way too many passes. And I understand you were worried about the 20 plays you could only give Pacheco a little bit of a snap count. But they ran it 7 times with Hunt, 7 times with Pacheco. And a few times this year they've done it. They've looked their best, as a lot of offenses do, when they've run the football. And the Bucs game is the one that's always come to mind. Like the way that game played out. The first half, they kind of abandoned the run. They were struggling. Second half, they got it going, had their best drive of the game because of it. I think on Sunday night, Pacheco's in for a massive game. I really believe that. I don't think there's a snap count for Isaiah Pacheco on Sunday night. Divisional game, another week back from injury. I think Pacheco's getting 15-plus touches. I think he's having over 70 yards on the ground, and he's having a touchdown. It's kind of a better two that I'll be placing for Sunday Night Football. I think he's in for a huge game, and I'm with you. Now, I don't need them running.
Teams have also been running on the Chargers a lot.
I know you were obviously being a little hyperbolic. I don't know if they only run 40 times, but man, they don't need to pass the ball 46 times either.
Yeah, there's a balance in between it. I'm just saying, find out if that's a way you can win a football game. Because I think in the playoffs, that might come into factor. And look, I think their playoff success is part of the reason they win all these one-score games. Is it 14 in a row? What's the number?
14 one-score games.
14 one-score games in a row. In the Patrick Mahomes era, Patrick Mahomes has played in 18 actual playoff games. I mean, he's 30. 18 actual playoff games. And so, but he's not even 30, right? Or whatever. So when you look at that, it's hard for me to imagine that that's not a direct factor for why they win all the close games, right? How do you win all these close games? Well, it's probably because he does all the stuff we just talked about, which is consistently find ways to win in even weird, inconsistent ways. And so, yeah, I honestly think that they should just find out, because the way the offense looks different is Pacheco's more effective, therefore more Xavier Worthy downfield, in a couple of weeks, more Hollywood Brown downfield. This is the toughest part about this, is they're going to have to figure out who they are on offense in a month. They don't have half a season. They don't have 2/3. They got a month to sort out, to figure out a new left tackle, a new wide receiver, essentially, right? He played one, and working Pacheco back in 1 month. That's it. Hope you can get everybody on board. Part of that is I want to see what kind of running game you have, because to this point it's been, he's great at avoiding because someone said, well, then one negative run and it's 2nd and 12 and you have to pass. The Chiefs have actually been statistically this year the best team in the league at avoiding negative plays. Like they are better.
Well,
like that's part of the reason they're successful on 3rd down. They avoid negative plays.
Think about watching the running game, especially when Kareem Hunt's been in there. Like
it's never zero.
He was always, he was a physical back. He was always leaning forward, if that makes sense. Like he's always getting at least a half yard or a yard. Like he's not falling backwards. And they typically haven't had those. And even, there's 1 or 2 negative plays I can remember where they tried to get a little cute on a jet
like
sweep.
A double revert. Yeah,
something like that. And other than that, in the running game itself, they've typically done a good job. It's because the interior of this offensive line is really good. It's the tackles where they've been having some problems. All right, let's get to it, Drew.
Trash of the day.
All right, so this one's very mainstream. This is, I think, something that everybody has seen, and maybe you've talked to people about it as well. Pretty jarring news yesterday involving the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. By now, you guys are aware that he was shot outside of a hotel Wednesday morning in New York, and he was attending a conference. The police commissioner, they called it a brazen targeted attack. The gunman is still on the loose. There's a bunch of theories out there and everything. The bullet casings now, they're saying, were found at the scene, had the words deny, defend, and depose written on them, according to ABC News. He was scheduled, this guy was only 50 years old, was scheduled to start at 8 a.m. He was shot by a masked gunman at 6:40. Probably seen the video. I mean,
they now have released a photo of his face, I think.
Yeah, well, the latest update from that is images from a surveillance camera at a New York City hostel on the Upper West Side, where it appears, they said, the suspect shared a room with 2 other men. They obtained a search warrant to search the hostel. They're canvassing other hostels' locations to find out. But yes, there's a clear image of the individual. The video is
crazy.
I mean, obviously it's terribly sad, but like the video is crazy how calm the individual appears to be. There's a witness. There's someone there on the video, Cody, and he shoots this CEO of the company right there in front of somebody else, and then just casually walks away like it was nothing.
Silencer and the whole thing, man.
It's straight out of a movie, man. Straight out of a movie.
I mean, I'm assuming he was I'm assuming the story will go the way you think. That he had a family member who was denied some health coverage, and this is a story based in somebody who was treated poorly in their mind by the CEO and this happened.
Who knows? I mean, there's so many different...
an assassination of a major corporate CEO on the streets is nuts.
Oh, it's nuts. That's what I'm saying. So it's right out of a movie, and they said that the CEO, and I say they, ABC News, other reporting, national outlets, that he had received threats like over the last couple of months, and his wife acknowledged it, and he didn't have any security detail. I don't know. To me, if you're like a CEO of an insurance company, and what obviously comes with that at times, I would be making sure I've got some protection around me, security detail. But that was unfortunately not the case. Really, really sad, but just bizarre. Like everybody's got a theory. Yeah, we're gonna find out that this individual, like somebody had a family member that was like denied coverage, and he's out for revenge. Who knows? Someone says they also the meeting he was heading to still started on time. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like they didn't know he was there. He wasn't.
I'll just tell you now, if I made the amount of money that guy made, I'd have security all the time.
I would.
Yeah.
Thinks. I would
like
think.
just a driver. I mean, something.
Mm-hmm. The person, allegedly the suspect, they think was at a Starbucks right before. I grabbed a water, grabbed some protein bars or whatever.
You just need a snack.
Just like, but this is how calm.
You're gonna go on a run.
How calm the person was, though.
So
I'm assuming the person paid with cash at Starbucks, because otherwise,
Probably.
I mean, it'd be very
I'm assuming
easy.
other's that have a receipt.
It'd be very easy
You would
here.
think that it
You
had
pay
to
cash to the hostel too?
I don't know.
It had to have been a hitman, because I don't think anybody, to your point, would be that calm.
I don't know, man. Dude, like this isn't a movie. Do professional hitmen just shoot people on the street
in front of a witness?
But to be
is it
that,
supposed to be a little
just
cleaner?
wait that to like someone's house or something? I don't know.
I know.
I'm
but
asking.
For you to be that calm, though, like I don't know if anybody. I don't know.
Just like, I'd say if he's not a professional hitman,
The latest photo they have, they're gonna catch this dude. I mean, the latest photo. Go look online. Like the latest photo, you can see the guy's face pretty clearly. If you're someone that has ever come across that person, that should be easy to identify. You would think. They're now asking the public's help, obviously, but the image is everywhere. Like it's not this image. His face is not covered up. He's smiling, and it's very easy to see his face. This guy is gonna get caught.
maybe he's already out of the country. And one day that'd be pretty quick.
I mean, the guy from Wisconsin found a way to get over to the other country by faking his own death. Now, everybody's looking for this gentleman, but they don't know who it is, so there's no reason why it would.
Maybe he could have gotten out before, right?
That's
One
true.
day he was in
That's
New
true.
York, right?
That's very true.
I mean, not that far to get out of the country. Could have been in Canada at the very least.
Anything is possible, Cody.
I mean, we didn't think Chiefsaholic would be out for 3 months, 4 months.
No, that documentary's coming out in a couple weeks on Amazon.
There was nobody more excited, I don't think, than you. Than you, Cody.
I sent Drew they sent me the embargo email, coming out that not until tomorrow.
I know.
I did not play the trailer, but that did come up on Wednesday. I made sure to mention it because I think our listeners are invested in it as the show, as you guys have covered it better than anybody else.
I can't wait for that documentary. I can't wait. Did you thinking of while we're on? You can cut the music while we're on this topic real quick of the trash of the day, but what relates to Chiefsaholic. I was driving to Arrowhead last Friday, and there's a new billboard up. Maybe I hadn't noticed it. Maybe it's been up for months. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I just noticed it for the first time. And I'm paraphrasing the headline. It was basically like, the lawyers, the kingdom calls or something. And guess whose photo it was?
No,
yes.
is that guy?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. If you're heading towards the stadium, you know what I'm talking, especially if you're coming from south. And it's I can't remember the exact wording, but it's basically something like the kingdom calls or the kingdom trusts these lawyers.
Do you think he came up with that himself?
I don't know. And there's two lawyers on the billboard. One of the attorneys is 1,000% the attorney that represented Babudar or whatever that had the famous lines on the courthouse steps.
I don't even think we have it without the music anymore, which is how
I don't think we have.
We have to have it. So
Do we?
It has to be.
Honestly, I like it better with the music.
I've got the Chariots of Fire
This is
one.
not
Oh, there we go.
Chiefsaholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs' kingdom.
That lawyer has a billboard now, yeah. Shout out to him.
Right next to Jungle
Responsibility
Wall.
for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs' kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up.
From bank robbing?
Again, remember.
He doesn't give up what? Robbing banks?
And
Yeah,
remember,
you're right. He never gave that up.
And remember, since then, he's been sentenced to multiple years.
I don't remember how many years he got. It was less than I was expecting.
Was it 12? It wasn't 15,
I
which
think it was more than 10. Yeah.
We decided that it was pretty much the life of Patrick Mahomes' career,
Yeah.
That was what it was. Yeah, that was the conversation around that.
It's almost the same billboard as by the Manchester Bridge around 31st, exit inbound toward downtown. There you
Who
go.
the kingdom
But yeah,
called-
you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's a 7. Oof. Don't rob banks. The billboard. Yeah, there's two of them, I guess, in town. But yeah, I almost texted you. I was driving, but I almost texted you because I started laughing. I legit laughed out loud for a second. I was like, "That's the guy."
Unbelievable.
That's the guy. Anyway, up next.
Wow.
Up next, we'll get to the Chiefs Red half hour. Let's talk a little bit about what we should expect from the left tackle spot Sunday night.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Do yourself a favor and get over to Volkswagen Lee Summit for their winter clearance sale. Look, I could have waited. I bought my car in spring, took it on a couple of road trips. It's been a fantastic family car for me, the kids, the wife, the moving stuff, the extra third row that flips up in our Tiguan, all this stuff has been so convenient for our life. And for our first brand new car, we could not have chosen better than Volkswagen Lee Summit. Their clearance time means great deals for you, though. Up to $8,000 off remaining 2024 Volkswagen models. That's $8,000 off of Atlas or Atlas Cross Sports. You can get $5,000 off MSRP for 24 Jettas, Taos, and Tiguans. Look, Tiguan's got that panoramic roof. I got the R-Line Black. Drew complimented the wheels. I took as a high compliment, right? You can get that dream ride this year because the discounts have never been better. There's no better time to buy. When I bought it back in spring, I got 0% APR for the life of the loan, 60 months. They still have that available if you'd rather go that route instead, or sign then drive leases where you can pay 0 down and 0 next month. It doesn't matter whether you're looking new or used, Volkswagen Lease Summit will take care of you. Don't miss out. Go to VWLeaseSummit.com.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off Berry Road and Prairie Drive in KC Mo, Friday, December 6th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift, or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. Get tickets and info at livenation.com. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Saturday, December 7th at the T-Mobile Center. Sebastian Maniscalco, Saturday, February 22nd at T-Mobile Center. Goo Goo Dolls, Friday, August 22nd at Starlight. And Lincoln Park, Sunday, August 31st at T-Mobile Center.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program. It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bag all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Shop Dell Technologies Cyber Monday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Cyber Monday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Oh no.
no. Stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Old Spice Swagger Holiday Pack, perfect for a gift to treat yourself. 24/7 holiday freshness with daily use can smell your bestest. I'm gonna be smelling great all season. Old Spice scents just can't be beaten. Chock full of value, saving that green. Got the essentials needed to feel clean. Deodorant, hair, body wash, and spray. Celebrate your holiday the Old Spice way. Ho, 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 ho.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get to the left tackle in a second. You never know who's listening, Cody. You never know who's listening. We were just
Maybe
talking
someone
about
who works in Amazon.
We were just talking about Chiefsaholics documentary. Not even kidding, guys. During the break, you got an email and now about an advanced screening for the documentary, and so we can't talk about it until it comes. But I guess it sounds like you and I have something to watch tonight.
This email says, just what timing? Obviously, someone who works for the studio listens to this show and knows that our following of the story. The email said, Drew, this morning we have made screeners available for Chiefsaholic, a wolf in Chiefs clothing, and then it's like, hey, if you need access, just let us know. It tells me how long I am allowed to hold on to my review for, but it's essentially just giving me a link and access to watch the documentary now. 20 full days ahead of the public?
Oh.
Are you kidding? Gold, you're right. God, good football game. I might watch it tonight, though.
I'll watch it this weekend.
But it's getting watched.
You might watch it tonight?
I'm not going to watch it tonight. Or maybe after the game.
Yeah, and then the second that we are allowed to speak about, we're giving an early review for this. We're going to let you know from two people who followed this story closely.
Chiefsaholic, a wolf in Chiefs clothing.
That was, and not kidding,
I know,
when I made that fake trailer, that was the name I went with.
There was definitely some
too good
of
of a
that
name.
there.
I'm not taking creative
It
credit
premieres
for that.
December 24th.
So,
Big fan. Here's the subtitle. Big fan, bad man, lone wolf, Chiefsaholic.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Oh, my gosh.
A true crime story.
Okay.
The film captures never-before-seen interview footage with Babudar after he's released on bail, and before he unexpectedly removed his ankle monitor, became a fugitive from the FBI. His stunning move set off a 4-month nationwide manhunt to recapture him, led by bail bondsman Michael Lloyd. Babudar would eventually be charged with the armed robbery of 11 financial institutions, stealing $847,000 across 7 states. He was sentenced to 17 and a half years in federal prison with no possibility of parole.
It's going to include interviews with him, dude?
I was going to say, this is like the follow-up to the ESPN one.
We wanted to know who was interviewed. In addition to Babudar, Chiefsaholic, the bail bondsman, the defense attorney, Matthew Merriman, there we go.
Yes.
A credit union advisor that was accosted during the holdup, and an assortment of, quote, diehard Chiefs Kingdom fans who embraced the Chiefsaholic character.
Were any of you guys interviewed without saying?
I can only do one movie a month, Drew. I can do one movie a month. That is it. They don't pay me enough. One movie a month. Hey, Hallmark said, we need you this December. I said, fine. I said, sorry, Amazon, next time.
Amazon Prime already put me in front of 20 million people last week. There's just nothing They used my face, Drew, in front of 20 million people before that Chiefs game.
I was here when they were shooting it.
On Black Friday.
Yeah, someone's wanting to know about the money made from this. Yeah, remember part of the there was already a restitution thing. Yeah, that was why they had that ruling many months ago about that way if he can't profit off his own crime kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially any money he would make off of that
would go to the victims.
Straight to the victims.
Yeah.
So I'm watching that. Yeah, at the latest this week. At the latest this week.
Seems like a perfect weekend thing.
So I know you guys talked about it a little on Monday. You had to, because we talked about the offensive lineman a week ago, and I'm sure you talked about it again because they're getting fried. I was thinking more about, I think people are, overhyping what they need out of DJ Humphries in order for this to be a success and actually notice a difference on Sunday. Because according to Andy Reid, barring some sort of setback, he is the starting left tackle on Sunday. And I would tell you, generally speaking, not great. If you were on your third left tackle on Thursday, December 5th, getting ready to head into a division rival game. But here's the truth. If he is, honest to God, the 22nd best left tackle in the league, it is an improvement. I have never, in my entire time watching the Chiefs, watched more people get beat without laying a finger on the defender than I have at left tackle this year for the Chiefs. It's out of hand. So if this is not even competent, if this is below average left tackle play, you and I, Gold, will notice a tangible difference. I already gave you the stats. Mahomes is actually playing pretty well. Statistically, they are scoring some points as a result of that. But what I'm telling you is that DJ Humphries playing the 20th best left tackle in the league will be a noticeable improvement for this offense. I don't think the world is on his shoulders to fix this offense. I think if they get moderately better play, they're going to be significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, look, you would love for him to somehow get back to the Pro Bowl level left tackle that he was. I think that's a big ask. Hasn't played in 11 and a half months. We don't know about the true health of him, the grasp of the up, but we know what he has been in his career. And based on the play that they're getting, I'm with you, Cody. This is one of those times where you can truly say it can't get any worse. That's how bad it has been. And look, Wanye's hurt, in fairness to him, but that's the reality of the situation. He's hurt. The play's not good enough. They were actually pretty patient with him during the season. In large part, it's because, their other option, Kingsley, has been, to this point, in his first half season in the NFL.
I do think Wanye's hurt, and that's probably impacting his ability. But
if they get a slight improvement, it's massive. That's why everybody, I think, is thrilled to see what looks like DJ Humphrey starting at left tackle on Sunday night. It does not take much to see improvement out of that position. And he does not have to be dominant. There's also the reality of, he's going to play Sunday. Then he has 4 more games. It's still all about the build-up for the playoffs. So he might be rusty. Understandably so. He hasn't played an NFL game in 11 and a half months. Does that rust knock off right away? Does it take till the Steelers game? Does it take till the divisional round of the postseason? I don't know. But that's why it's important for him to get going now. Get the rust knocked off. And I think there's a chance, whatever we see Sunday from Humphries, there's a chance there could be better play than that still to come.
Yeah, I do think.
If he's healthy.
But again, they don't need him to be former Pro Bowl. They don't need him to be what he was at his peak, at his best. They are so lucky that he was coming back from this injury and hadn't signed with anybody. And maybe this was to Humphries' credit. Maybe his plan all along was just to sit on the sidelines and sign with a team that he actually had a chance to win a Super Bowl ring with and play for a good team versus some of these bad ones that are coming in there. That part of it. And someone said from the 75, is he really hurt or are they covering for him? I think he's really hurt.
Yeah, I talked to Nate Taylor about that, and Nate, you guys know, Nate knows his stuff.
I don't think he's just making it. I think Wanye's actually hurt.
Yeah, Nate said, no, he's hurt. He's hurt.
And he's playing hurt. And so, and look, that's going to limit your ability. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out there's some, off-season surgery for Wanye, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. But what they need is just competent. Gold, I'm not kidding. That last game against the Raiders, how many times did they get beat without even a resistance? Patrick Mahomes was hit immediately. No play could be successful under those conditions. I have told you before, one of Patrick Mahomes' greatest abilities as a player is his ability to mitigate sacks. No one has been better in the league at reducing the number of sacks the team should have given up versus what they did give up. He is in week 12 of the NFL season 13, and he has already set a career high in how often he has been sacked. So, even he cannot mitigate this. He has been very, 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 very consistent in how often he has been sacked in any individual season. So, that a lot of it is something he is doing, and yet this time he's been sacked 32 times. Here's his whole career.
Okay.
26, 17, 22, 28, 26, 27. That sound pretty familiar to you? 32 times he's been sacked this year. Just keep him off his ass a little bit more, Gold. And I think that there's a significant improvement on the offensive line play and therefore the offense.
Yeah, it should. I mean, kind of what you're saying. Don't the Juwan Taylor aspect, he hasn't had any attention on him as much because of how poor left tackle is. I'm with you. So you wonder, does this help elevate his game too by having better play on the left tackle side? In general, yeah, Mahomes is always going to be good at evading pressure. But if you get better left tackle play, I would like to think Juwan Taylor plays better. I don't know. Maybe we just been way easier on Juwan Taylor this year because of the focus on left tackle. I also think Taylor's been better. Has he lived up to the contract? No. Juwan Taylor has not lived up to the contract at this point in time. And I still will never forget that at the time of the signing, it sure seemed like everybody believed he was going to be the left tackle. Then he wasn't. He was the right tackle. Then they drafted Kingsley to be their left tackle of the future. To this point in time, that obviously looks like that's not going to happen. We shall see as time goes on. But they can't go into next season thinking. And that's the other part of this DJ Humphries thing. If DJ Humphries goes and plays well the rest of this season and in the postseason, hopefully leads them to a Super Bowl.
He'd be the left tackle for a little bit.
I would bring him back on a one-year deal next year. That's getting ahead of ourselves. I'm just saying that's what this move potentially could be. It could also provide them the ability to have a solution next year while they continue to try to develop Kingsley. And then Wanye might be your right guard next year if Trey Smith's not back.
It depends, obviously.
Or Hunter Norzad or somebody like that. Or
DJ
they draft
Humphries
another guard.
31. That is a position in which I would say the age matters less than other positions, as in you can carry that into your 30s longer. But yeah, it's not smooth. Look, all of this is to say, this is why when we opened the show, I had told you, if you made me today predict who the Super Bowl winner was, and you said, all right, any team right now, today, Cody, who wins the Super Bowl? I wouldn't answer Chiefs for the first time in what feels like probably a year. I don't think I ever fully caved last year. Maybe I thought, and again, would not say never gonna happen. That's crazy. I would never agree to that. But their problems have to start. Time's up. Start solving start solving your problems, because otherwise you're going to lose the 1 seed. You're going to lose the advantage of rest. You're going to have to go to Buffalo again, which I'm not saying you can't win in Buffalo. You can, but doing it 2 times in a row in the playoffs becomes harder. All these other things. And the rest thing being the thing we've talked about all the time. Easily the single biggest advantage. You were Chris Jones? Yeah. You were Chris Jones after the game? They're tired, man. They've been playing too many games. They're tired.
They are. If the Super Bowl was this weekend, obviously the Chiefs would be in big trouble. The good news is the Super Bowl's not in February. No. For the texter, 913-586-7965 said, hey, if this was another team, you guys would be saying how stupid and crazy they are to think that you're 100% right. The text line says, use some common sense. I would push back. I would ask the question right back to you as well. I would say use some common sense that this is not this. That's the.
They're not every other team.
Your point is not wrong. That we would. You're right. We would be saying that. But that's been my whole entire thing about the situation with this football team right now. Is that we all acknowledge the issues. We all acknowledge that if the Super Bowl was this weekend, they would be screwed. But that's not the reality. And yeah, I do look at them differently. I think they've earned that until proven otherwise. We all said we would not make the same mistake last year when we were sitting here on Christmas Day a year ago, or the day after Christmas a year ago, after they got embarrassed and their ass kicked by the Raiders, and everybody was saying, you think this team is going to the Super Bowl, you idiots? What are you talking about? We're doing the same thing again. They have to improve. They've got 5 weeks to do it, and they have potential reinforcements. Let's see what happens. I'm not guaranteeing a Super Bowl. If your logic is that, they're not going to three-peat, I'm telling you now, well, yeah, nobody's done that in NFL history, so you're right. You're on that side of history, too, and that would be a safe bet to make. The Chiefs are the field. I would also take the field bet as well, because history tells me. History also tells me that they're different than everybody else. That Andy Reid is still the head coach. Patrick Mahomes is still the quarterback last time I checked. Chris Jones is still rushing the passer, the most dominant defensive tackle last time I checked.
I think
that's different. They're not the freaking Philadelphia Eagles who fired both their coordinators last year when they were struggling and got bounced in the first round by the Tampa Bay Bucks and Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry. I do grade the Chiefs on a different scale than those franchises that have not accomplished anything. And even though it's a year ago, that is not, I'm not bringing up something from 5 years ago with different quarterbacks and different coordinators. No. And what other team in the AFC has proven a damn thing that they can go win when it matters most? What team?
None. And so, the Eagles one is a terrible example because they quit on Nick Sirianni, and I think everybody knew it. This team has been the opposite of that. They seem to have been ride or die with Andy and crew and Patrick Mahomes and everyone else, so they're backed up against this. The idea that you would just say they can't do it because this team has struggled. Struggled, yes. I can't. There's just no denying that. But I also think that, we're pretending like they're doing this, but they're, out of the SEC taking on Vanderbilt. Like, if I actually went and pointed something out to you about the Chiefs' schedule, I don't think it should surprise you, but apparently maybe it would surprise some people, how many current or future playoff teams they've played this year and beaten. They beat the Ravens, a playoff team, the Falcons, who could be, like, let's just say the Falcons or the Bucks. They played both of them, beat both of them. One of those two teams is going to be in the postseason. The Chargers, who are in the postseason, the Bills, who are in the postseason, they lost that game. The Broncos, who is in the postseason, the Chargers, they'll play again this weekend. Half of their schedule is against the AFC playoff field. So unless all of a sudden you think, and look, if you think the Ravens don't have problems, you haven't been watching the Ravens. And so the one team you could say another way is the Buffalo Bills, a team that has been absolutely snake-bitten by the existence of the Kansas City Chiefs for 5 consecutive years. So no, I would never come on the show unless Patrick Mahomes got hurt and say this team has no chance to win the Super Bowl. They obviously do.
Yeah.
A lot of this is just about, like, the confidence meter has to be at an all-time low for every fan, and I don't blame them for being
the confidence meter is low. I just like how quickly we forget, though. That's all I'm saying. We all know how we felt on Christmas Day in this city during that Raiders game. And understandably so, we were like, okay, let's be real. This team has no chance. This team has no chance to win the Super Bowl. What are we doing? That's what we were saying.
Yeah,
understandably so. And so, like, if last year didn't happen, I would also understand why you feel the way you do in terms of, like, oh, well, they can't win. But last year gives me even more confidence that they can fix it. Well, and I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball if they're going to do it. Like, for people texting in saying your team will make the playoffs and then they won't win the Super Bowl. Like, well, what a bold take of you, by the way.
Yeah,
that
I'm
the
not
Chiefs
letting you take a victory lap if they lose in overtime of the AFC title game or losing the Super Bowl to another team. Then they could have accomplished those things. That's a stupid victory lap. If you're saying the Chiefs team is fundamentally flawed and they're not winning anything and then all this stuff we're seeing matters, well, then you've got them out by the divisional round.
I think the argument, though, like, I'm not siding with this person, but I think there's last year, they had a wide receiver problem. The defense was as elite as it comes.
Right.
Rashee Rice showed up and he played really well. Yeah. They have DJ Humphries, who we think can help the offense out. They don't have anybody on defense who is helping them, and I think that's the difference.
Secondary. They do on the defensive line. They don't in the secondary.
Correct.
Charles Omenihu, who already showed you the difference he makes in one football game in 50% of the snaps. It wasn't just a miracle that Chris Jones suddenly had his first sack since week 4.
Karlaftis, first one in weeks 2.
I understand. They were great, but they did play the Raiders, so I'm not banking.
We can keep adding what ifs as we keep going. Go ahead.
No, it's the first game. You mentioned Charles Omenihu. He played one game. He played against. I'm not banking everything. The defense is fixed because they played against the Raiders. I think that last year, Patrick Mahomes admitted it multiple times. The defense saved their ass on multiple occasions. They're the reason they won the whole thing. But
in the playoffs, it wasn't.
I know, but if you're saying they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, the whole defense wins championships moniker that is consistent, is as old as time. That's the difference, I think, with this team where, as we've seen the last 5 weeks, and I've asked the question every single week, and it's become more validated, I guess, over the last 5 weeks, something to monitor is, can the defense make a stop? If you know that Joshua Williams is going to be targeted, can you figure out how to actually get it done? They have so far, but is that going to run itself out?
Yeah, we're doing the same We're doing the same stuff we tried to do last year.
I think it's a little bit different because you couldn't rely on anybody on offense until Rashee Rice. He covered the problems because he was so good, and Patrick Mahomes was good down the stretch. The offensive line was good enough.
But I think
you don't have a replacement on defense. Unless, as of right now, if Josh Williams is just as bad as Najee Johnson, you don't have anybody that you can go to.
No, but, like, I also, like, the pass rush helps those things, which is what his point in a minute, but also, like, I think the problem with the whole, like, defense won them the Super Bowl last year, the defense helped them get to the playoffs and have the record they had. The offense won the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Like, it just did. The offense is what carried them to the Super Bowl title. They needed every bit of the offense against the Bills, maybe against the Ravens.
The Ravens, the defense. The Ravens.
Okay, so the offense won the game. The offense won the game against the Bills. The defense won the game against the Ravens. The offense won the game against the 49ers. I mean, it's still hard to be like, the defense carried them through the postseason. That's just not how it felt to me. And it beat them, and I guess both probably won against Miami.
No, they
just smoked them. But
Drew, your point is fair about where the defense was compared to a year ago. Last year they had a dominant defense. They're not going to have a dominant defense. I'm not disagreeing. My thought on how do they fix this? How do they suddenly become a huge problem in the playoffs again for opponents? And I can promise you, whoever's in the AFC playoff field, I don't care how the Chiefs are playing. They don't want to play the Chiefs. They just don't. If we got some true serum in every single head coach in the AFC, they don't want to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. The thought of mine, and we'll find out if we're wrong, right? Is that the offense this year is going to be what actually elevates more. The defense is not going to get back to an elite level. I think the offense, I still have a deep belief that it does. Mahomes is playing good football right now. If he gets a little bit more time from DJ Humphries. Pacheco's been gone for 2 months. He's finally back. He's finally maybe not going to have a snap count on Sunday night. Hollywood Brown maybe gets 30% of the snaps in the playoffs. That's a huge deal to have him getting 30% of the snaps.
Yep.
You know, like that's my thought. The offense is going to elevate enough to suddenly, I don't know if we're going to be winning shootouts of the playoffs necessarily, because I still will point out this Chiefs defense, you know, we're acting like there's a degree of how difficult they've been, how poor they've been playing. Like, let's not act. They're not playing bottom 5 defense either. They're just not as dominant as last year. Sometimes they're graded on a different scale. I get it. We act like this defense is just horrendous now. They're not horrendous. They're not playing near the level they were a year ago. They still, you would have thought they gave up 50 to Buffalo. They gave up 30, and it was a last-second touchdown that sealed the game. Otherwise, we're talking about giving up, 22 points or 23 points. So, I take issue. Against Denver, they gave up 14 to them. Against the Raiders, 17. They're not playing well, but we also don't need to act like this defense is 32nd out of 32 teams like Cincinnati.
But again, the reason I asked the question previously is when they've had to make a stop late, when they've done great the whole game. Spags have been great. Game plan is everything's been great. When they have to make a stop because the offense doesn't take advantage of the chances, as they did against Buffalo, as they technically did against Denver.
I'm just saying the offense can be better, so hopefully they're not in that spot.
Correct. But that's the hope. But, I mean, when you're playing against the Raiders or the Broncos, like when you're in a Super Bowl against the teams that are as elite as they come, because I think they're going to get through everybody in the AFC. Buffalo's the only team to worry about, to your point, Cody. Can they get a stop against Jared Goff and that Lions offense when it comes down to it in the end of the game?
That's in the Super Bowl. I don't care. Get to the Super Bowl. We'll worry about it then. I don't care about Jared Goff.
I don't
care in the Super Bowl when they have two. We'll worry about that problem then.
But I think that it's a valid question in regards to what you guys are talking about. You shouldn't be worried about this team at all whatsoever because it's the regular season and because they've gone and done it before. I think
maybe they won't get the stop at the offense will score. Does that make sense?
But Drew, see, that's also like twisting the words. I have never once said over the last 3 weeks talking about this team, you're saying there's nothing to worry about. I have never said there's nothing to worry about. I said we've all, I mean, do I have to write it down? We've gone through each issue with this team. I just had a conversation with you yesterday on this show that I think the secondary is the biggest problem for this football team. I'm not telling you there's not issues with the team. I obviously have way more faith than you do that they can figure it out, and I think I have reasons to believe that they can figure it out. You're acting like I'm sitting here saying nothing to worry about.
They're going to win. There's no reason to worry about it because they've done it before.
That's not the exact phrase I use. We've been talking for 3 weeks talking about this football team. I'm telling you they're going to figure this thing out, and I believe they will because they have done it before and because they have reinforcements on offense. But we've also acknowledged the issues that they have. So anyway, I think it's just funny how quick people forget.
Not me. I remember. Just saying it's less likely today.
Which again, Christmas was not of 2024 or 2023 was not that long ago.
That was the lowest confidence meter. I mean, they have as many Super Bowl titles as losses in the last 11 and a half months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to just bury him.
All right, up next, let's get to what's trending, and then we're going to talk to former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes. He's part of the Chiefs radio network. He'll be on the broadcast Sunday night at Arrowhead right here on 96.5 The Fan. Let's talk to him about what he sees from this offense moving forward down the stretch.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First bets let you get on the action from the opening tip. You can bet on things like who's going to score that first basket, which team's going to be the first to 15 points, and so much more. And best of all, you don't have to wait for the whole game to see if you won. Maybe, you're not going to watch the entire NBA game. This is perfect for you. And best of all, you don't have to wait for the results later on to pay you out, right? It's going to be pretty quick. Just look for Friday First in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to claim your Friday First profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Are you going to start the new year dealing with the same old joint pain, losing sleep, not able to take walks or do what you love because your knees or hips hurt? Well, don't do it. Take action now to get the pain relief you deserve for 2025. Call QC Kinetics now and say goodbye to shoulder and back pain. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people, and I'm talking about lasting relief. Imagine a new year without those achy joints, no more pain pills, no more steroid shots. QC Kinetics uses the healing properties of your own body to attack the root cause of your pain, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. This is the future of medicine. So set up your appointment today with QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone, 816-412-6299.
As you've likely figured out, I can get pretty fired up. Whether it's lab diamond ripoffs, bogus sells and financing offers, or paint-by-number jewelry sold as custom, I'm pretty passionate about protecting my client family from predatory jewelers. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, and when I say client family, I really do mean family. At House of Diamonds, we have clients who have watched our kids grow from diapers to dormitories. My family and I are personally in the store every day. We go to school and church here. Our kids play sports here. We look our clients in the eye, not in their bank accounts. Our relationships are based on trust and respect, not ad gimmicks and false promises. No fake custom jewelry, no bogus sales and financing offers, and absolutely no lab diamond ripoffs. Everything at House of Diamonds is real. Me, my family, our team, our passion, and hopefully soon, you. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. you've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text FORCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text FORCE to 42424. That's FORCE to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We start with some sad news here in Kansas City with former Kansas City Royals pitcher Al Fitzmaurice. You guys have probably seen the headlines last night, passing away at the age of 78. He made his MLB debut with the Royals back in 1969. Spent 8 years with the club.
Original
and
Royal.
You've probably seen a lot of the stories out there, either from media outlets. I know Fesco worked with him back in the day, and so he started their show today talking about some of his experiences with Al. And the one thing you consistently had seen from people talking about just how much he was involved in the community here, and plenty of charitable organizations and charitable efforts. According to a family Facebook post, Fitzmaurice had been battling cancer for several months and was surrounded by loved ones at the time of his passing. But 10-year career, 77 and 59, 3.65 ERA. You look at some of the Royals numbers. I mean,
Go back and you'd be surprised about how good of a pitcher he is in Royals history.
There's an argument for Royals Hall of Fame argument, but obviously really sad news, and our thoughts with the Fitzmaurice family as he had passed away at the age of 78.
Had a chance to be around him maybe 10 or 15 times. Always a super cool dude. Always at charitable stuff. So, yeah, his reputation is correct. Great guy. Sad for Al Fitzmaurice and his family. Next up on What's Trending, Travis Kelce is the Chiefs nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. All 32 nominees were announced today by the NFL, and Travis Kelce for 87 and running. His charity that often benefits Operation Breakthrough were the Chiefs nominee this year. I'll tell you what, the fan vote he's probably got in the bag. Because remember, you get $25,000 for winning the fan vote and then more additional funds to your charity for that. But the fan vote is a straight-up vote on Twitter. And he dates Taylor Swift. And there's no chance. The Chiefs player often is in the final.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a lock this time. Are you kidding? He's absolutely getting that money for 87 and running.
Yeah, because Mahomes has been nominated before, hasn't won that. That's like the only award Mahomes hasn't won at this point in time. Travis Kelce, obviously. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's so tough to honestly, I don't know how they choose.
I think they are all charitable.
Yeah, I don't know how they choose.
I don't know how you decide.
It's a huge honor. I mean, you get that patch on your jersey the rest of your career, no matter if you leave teams or whatever. But obviously, well-deserved with the work he's been doing here locally as well. Next up on What's Trending, college basketball, #1 Kansas fell to Creighton last night up in Omaha, 76-63. It was an ass-kicking.
Yeah, they got beat.
Give Creighton a ton of credit. They also, like they typically do, it wasn't fluky. They make a lot of threes. That's their style of play. And boy, oh boy, did they make a lot of their threes. Hunter Dickinson did not play well. He only had 4 shot attempts. Hunter Dickinson had 4 shot attempts in a loss. We also know he, of course, has his struggles against pick and roll defensively. It just was not a good performance. They have Missouri coming up on Sunday in Columbia. The Jayhawks. Yeah, also number 2 Auburn lost last night at Cameron Indoor against the Duke Blue Devils. So it's been, some of these bigger matchups early on are fun, and then you kind of tail off the rest of December when you get to finals and things like that. But yeah,
not for Big 12 play
well.
Because eventually Big 12 is just like top 10 team after top 10 team.
Creighton needed that one. They had lost 3. Last year they beat UConn. And UConn went on to win the title. So there you go. Yeah. If you need to feel better about yourself today.
Ruse lost to the Vandals last night. It's been
I
a tough
saw
stretch.
That. You let them lose to Idaho? I don't like that.
Tough stretch for the Ruse. Tough stretch.
As someone that was more of a Boise State guy than an Idaho guy, there's a rivalry there. I was disappointed to see your Ruse lose to Idaho. That can't happen. Lost to the Vandals?
Not good enough.
Was it not close?
Bad effort. No, I mean, they were down 10 and a half, and it pretty much stayed that distance. Next up in what's trending in former Chiefs news, Eric Bieniemy is out as the offensive coordinator over at UCLA, saying they're making a change. They ranked 117th in points per game in Division I college football this year. That'll probably get you fired as an offensive coordinator, which leaves everybody the question, which is, for the next month, would you bring him a consultant? Consultant job for old EB, Eric Bieniemy? You think you get him back in the building?
So I would have no problem with that. I think the question would be, and Andy and Matt Nagy would know this, is basically you would have
to see. Too many cooks in the kitchen?
Well, that, and you would have to see, like, hey, is Nagy good with that?
Yeah.
Because you basically, bring in,
You're like, hey, this isn't a threat to you. This is just another voice in the room. They work together. I have a hard time imagining because Nagy and Eric Bieniemy worked so closely together for so many years. Like they'd care being in a meeting room together.
I wouldn't mind it. Do I think they need to do it? No. Anybody do they need to do that? No. I think DJ Humphries plays better and Isaiah Pacheco gets more involved in the running game. That solves a lot of this. Unless Eric Bieniemy knows how to play cornerback for this team as well, then I'm interested. If Eric Bieniemy can move to the defensive side of the ball and play number 2 corner for this team, then I am very interested in his services. All right, that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Let's welcome in Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He, of course, is part of the Chiefs radio network. You'll hear him this Sunday night right here on 96.5 The Fan, Sunday Night Football. He's sponsored by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Danan, great to have you on the show. I guess I'll just pick up where we left off there. Eric Bieniemy out at UCLA. Would you be interested? Do you think the Chiefs would have any interest in having him come back as a consultant for the playoff run?
Absolutely. I think he'd definitely be an asset. We've seen his exploits. We've seen what he can do in his resume here with the Chiefs. And even though it may not have worked out at the college level at UCLA, it doesn't mean that he can't be an asset anywhere he goes, especially here. I mean, he knows the players. He knows the playbook. He knows how to get something out of this offense. I think he got a raw deal from the beginning. How he's not a head coach somewhere with his resume doesn't calculate. It doesn't make sense. So for me, and based on your question, without going off on a whole other tangent, I'd say he'd definitely be an asset. The more minds that you have who's had success with this organization and you're trying to go for the epic three-peat, to me, inviting him in would not be a negative at all. It'd be a huge positive.
I think a lot of times one of Eric Bieniemy's strengths, like we saw come postseason time, Danan, was he was an outside-the-box thinker. He'd be like, hey, you want to try this? Like, I'm not saying he's a perfect coach in every conceivable way, like you'd say that about anybody, but, like, generally speaking, like the Rose Bowl parade play or some of the other stuff, I think he thought about the personnel uniquely, which I think is always an asset come postseason time. When everybody knows everything you do, your tendencies are out there.
And I also think that you can have a complement of a fiery guy that's going to hold people accountable as well. And I'm not saying that, to disparage anything about Matt Nagy. He's obviously a great coach. He's had success in the same position here in the same organization. But to have a complementary mindset and have somebody like fear can be a motivating factor. And whether he comes in as a consultant and you would have any kind of fear, I think the fear of being called out, the fear of someone getting in your face. Like, I know from a player's perspective, there were some times during my career, high school, college, and the pros, where my motivation was to make the coach shut up. Like, as long as I make him shut up, then that means I'm doing my job. While there's other coaches that might, I might have invited, hey, a pat on the back, or needed it. I don't think I needed it as much as some players did. But there's that compliment of a coach that pats you on the back, gives you that uplifting message. And then there's that coach that you want to avoid because you don't want to be yelled at or cussed out. And then at the same time, you want to make sure, you know what? If I walk past him and he's quiet, then I know I did my job.
Danan, you sound like... No, I was going to say, it sounds like you don't like being micromanaged. I get it.
Yeah, I think there's some aspect of that. If you're a self-motivator or self-motivated person like I am, I think a lot of people probably like you guys are, you don't need to be micromanaged. But at the same time, part of the motivating factor and when you garner that respect where your coaches know, okay, we don't have to worry about Danan. We don't have to worry about Cody and Gold. They're going to do their jobs. A-plus ability, we don't have to keep our thumb on them. The reverse effect is from you as a person is, you know what? Because they're giving me this latitude, because they're giving me this rope, I'm going to make sure I stay there. Like, I'm going to make sure I do everything possible so that I don't have to get micromanaged. And part of that could be, like, making that guy that's vocal, making that guy that's, the life of a team or the life of a coaching staff or that extra energy guy, making him shut up. Because if he's shutting up, then I know I'm doing my job even better.
We're talking to Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, a player that I don't think we've maybe even talked enough about this year, but boy, where would this offense be without him? I'm talking about Noah Gray at Chiefs tight end. I know Andy yesterday was asked, what has allowed him to have a bigger role, and he kind of just mentioned, hey, they're using more 2 tight end sets than they had in the past and all that. But Noah Gray looks like, he continues to get better and better each and every week and is now a crucial part of this offense.
Well, it's huge. I think we saw glimpses of what Andy and Matt Nagy wanted to do earlier this season when you had the three tight end sets, and then you brought back Jody Fortson and you had the 4 tight ends. So you knew that what Andy wanted to do, what they wanted to accomplish on offense, even when we had Rashee Rice before he went down, that they wanted to create mismatches. And we can talk about mismatches of DeAndre Hopkins because of his size, his physicality, and his wingspan and how big his hands are. But to me, and we've seen this against our defense, unfortunately, the biggest concept offensively in creating mismatches is usually tight ends versus defensive backs. So it only makes sense that if you have somebody like Noah Gray who's athletic, who's really coming to his own, if you can create mismatches while everybody wants to pay attention to Travis Kelce, then you go ahead and do that. And to be honest, there's probably been many more opportunities that Noah Gray has had where maybe he hasn't gotten the ball because Patrick didn't see him, didn't pay attention to him, maybe got focused on another part of the route tree and the other receivers. But now you've seen, once you get into good graces and you've garnered that respect from Patrick, how you can you can make yourself some numbers, you can make yourself some money, and put yourself in a really, really good position. And that's what Noah Gray is. So it's about seizing that moment, guys. The parity in the NFL is so small in regards from first string to second string to third string. It's usually about opportunity. It's not about talent.
The way I look at the left tackle position, I think, so I get it. People are like, we're asking a lot for a guy off the street to save the offensive line. Danan, I don't even think it's that dire. I think what it is can you get 20th best left tackle in the league? Because I know you've covered the Chiefs even longer than I've probably been watching them, but look, I've never seen a left tackle get beat without resistance more than what's happened this season between Kingsley and Wanya Morrison, which they're getting beat so fast, Danan, there is no recovery. There is no leave a running back. I think just 20th best left tackle and you'll notice a difference.
Yeah, I will say I agree with you. There was definitely some disappointment in the fight from Wanya Morris in that last game. The technique, and I said this earlier with Fesco and Dusty, technique, there are times where technique goes out the window. You love it, the kick step, which hand do you punch with, how do you ride a guy around the hump, all those different things. Those are, in order to play offensive line in the NFL, you have to know these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. You have to be able to do that at an upper echelon. But a really close 7 or a really close number 8, if there is 8, is dog, being a dog.
Sure.
And when you're going against a team that is pinning their ears back, that is showing no regard for your pass protection, your pass skills, pass setting skills, your ability to protect the quarterback, then the technique has to kind of take a side door to, now we're in an MMA fight. Now we're in a brawl. And at least I want the coaches on tape to see, and my teammates more so than my coaches, to see on Monday morning when we watch film, for them to see that I fought you, that maybe you just were a better athlete. You had my number that day, but my ankle was hurt, my knee was bad, whatever it is, that they all get to see, win, lose, or not, that I fought that person. And that's what I did not see. And that was, I think, if you poll any former player, if you got the insight from a current player off the record or on the record, they will tell you, man, I just want to see a guy fight for me. I just want to see a guy fight for us. And I don't think we saw that. I saw some times where, his technique, he tried to stick out his left hand and didn't follow it up with the right punch, and, they ran right around him. And it was unfortunate to see that. And I think outside of the X's and O's, if you really got to the transparency of coaches and players, that's what you would get is, man, I just want somebody out there that's going to fight for me. When Patrick comes off the field and he's shaking his head and he's frustrated, I'm sure in the back of his mind is, man, I just need somebody that's going to fight. Just fight. Fight Max Crosby for me. And that didn't happen. So hopefully DJ Humphries, he'll be a guy, like he's an average offensive tackle, hasn't had full game play this season after the injury. Who knows what that's going to shake out to be on the field when the bullets are flying. But what we do know is that he's got some fight in him, and I think that's what we'll see.
Another minute or so here with former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes. You'll hear him on the broadcast this Sunday night, 96.5 The Fan, as the Chiefs take on the Chargers, and that's what I want to ask you about is the Chargers, what you've seen from them. Ladd McConkey has been a terrific pick so far for the Chargers. That offense doesn't have a ton of huge playmakers. J.K. Dobbins is out, but Ladd McConkey has been a problem for a lot of teams. What have you seen from them offensively? Because they get 4 interceptions from the Falcons, yet they still only scored 17 points in that game.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, I mean, he kind of reminds me of like the Danny Amendola, the Amon St. Brown, like the guys that know how to work the middle of the field and do a really nice job of creating separation and creating easy throws for the quarterback. And Justin Herbert, like, he hasn't been asked to carry the team for most of this season. They've really leaned on the run game for a large part of it, and then the play action off the run game. And watching Ladd, whether it's option routes from the slot or crossing routes from the slot, creating those mismatches against nickel backs, because you got to think about the dynamic of a nickel back. A nickel back is not your third best corner. It's your corner that has the best ability to cover 40-plus yards horizontally across the field, because that's what it usually takes. From the slot, he's going to run sideline to the other sideline, option routes, etc. And Ladd McConkey, in his brief career, has really shown a knack to being able to take advantage of those windows in the middle of the field. So he creates some problems, because I think that's kind of been an Achilles heel of our defense as well when you're talking about man-to-man coverage.
Danan, Alex and I agree, so I'm curious of your opinion. We both think Patrick Mahomes is playing like a lot better, and some of the reasons fans don't notice is because he's been sacked 20 times over the last month or so. What do you think about Patrick Mahomes' play now versus what you saw earlier in the year?
Oh, I definitely think it's better. Earlier in the year, he seemed like he was pressing just a bit. The interceptions were up. Obviously, as a former wide receiver, there's a part of me that really hates the fact that all interceptions go on the shoulders of a quarterback and their stats, because I don't think all interceptions should be treated the same, especially last year, and then definitely earlier this year. Wide receivers got to help the quarterback better. There are times where Patrick was pressing just a bit, had some throws. I remember, I believe it was the Bengals game where he clearly was trying to maneuver the middle linebacker and literally threw it right to him in the middle of the field. Those things he's cleaned up. And I give him credit for that, because a guy that's accomplished so much in his career is still willing to accept the ability to be coached and accept the ability or take ownership of wanting to get better every single week. And I think he's accomplished that. So I feel like we're still in that zone, guys, of when the capabilities of this team start to match the production, every other team should watch out. And that's what's going to be special about this December and January run.
Well, it's like both of us are like still stuck in this range where it's like the improvement on the offense is somewhat noticeable. Where like if Pacheco comes back and runs the way that it is, then we think that the deep passing game's there.
Oh, I think you can make an argument. I'm sure Patrick, because of his arm strength, because of his big playability, because of the flair he brings to the game, he would probably critique his deep ball throwing the most out of any other aspect of his game.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to connect with Xavier Worthy on a consistent basis as far as measuring his stride and his gait and getting the ball to him in catchable places. And that's something that he has to grow and be better at. But, man, like once that happens, and that's not something that's going to take a season. Like that might take a quarter before the light comes on. And then once that light is on, it won't go out until New Orleans. So, like, I feel like the fact that he's still willing, he's still able to, he's still willing to take the chances downfield. I'd like to see them take at least one shot downfield deep per quarter. You get 2, maybe 3 series per quarter. Take 1 per quarter where it's just you line up, you give a hand signal, maybe a tap on your face mask, and you recognize one-on-one coverage and you want to take a shot downfield. It'll help Xavier, and it'll definitely help Patrick Mahomes. So that's my Christmas wish list, guys, from a receiver standpoint. From a production standpoint, offensively, I think it would help us tremendously. It worked last year with MVS. We didn't have much production, and then what some people might see as one of the biggest, if not the biggest play of the year was in the AFC Championship when we trusted him.
Before we let you go, you got players only tonight. Sean Barber's already been blowing up our phone saying that he micromanages you during that show. He also doesn't like your Amendola and Amon-Ra St. Brown comparison. He called it, quote, piss poor. So you guys can work that out tonight. I don't know if he's on there with you tonight, but you're on the radio, right here on 96.5 The Fan at 6.
Yes, I am. I don't know if Barbershop's coming in. I personally don't know if I'm going to let him in. I mean, let's be real.
Tell him to stick to the linebacker comps, you know?
Yeah, there's only but so much time you can spend around defensive guys because they cheat. They know they cheat, and they're not the brightest side of the game. We all know the offensive guys are. So I'm not surprised you got those little jabs in from Barbershop. That's just a defensive guy being defensive.
All right, Danan, appreciate it, man. We'll check in next week. We'll be listening. We'll be listening tonight. There you
All right,
go.
guys. Thanks a lot.
You got it. Danan Hughes, he joins us each and every Thursday, sponsored by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of Blue. They have a fun back and forth if you listen to Players Only. The text thread is fun at times as well. But Barber didn't like that Amon-Ra Damon Amendola comparison there. So
I don't know who Lad McConkey reminds me of, but like
is Brandon Stokely-ish?
I don't like. I was thinking.
Again, I'm trying to be
honest.
like,
I was thinking of a different one. I was thinking more Wes Welker. Like,
are we doing this for now? We're just thinking of white wide receivers.
Maybe.
Are we just doing that now?
I think
is that what we're going through?
I think the Amon-Ra comparison is better than Danny Amendola, more or less, because I think he's more effective or can be like peak, because it took a little bit for Amon-Ra. He's not like rookie year doing what he's doing now. I feel like
some of it's the short stuff
Brown's
too,
doing.
right? Like Lad McConkey's under 6 foot tall. Like I guess I kind of think of like the sizing stuff.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Maybe Max
Barber wants us to look up his Wonderlic score compared to Danan's. I don't know if that data is out there.
Does it exist?
I don't know. If you provide me a screenshot of the actual test for both of you, I'll present the info. Otherwise, I don't know if we have it. Up next, let's get to all 32. Talk a bit more about the division. Yeah, the AFC West and why Sunday night has other implications.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
That snow could have shown some problems with your roof. Century Roofing is the company that will take care of that for you. I trust them to do the improvements on my house, to work on my roof, and you can trust them to work on yours. You don't have to just take it from me if you don't want to. They've been voted Best of Johnson County 3 years in a row. How about the 30,000 roofs in 34 years they have spent in Kansas City? So if for some reason you're like, I don't know about this Cody guy, listen to every other person who tells you and keeps going back to Century Roofing. They've been doing some good during the holiday season as well, working with Operation Breakthrough and giving a portion of all proceeds for roof replacements and roof repair jobs, and giving a portion of those back to your community. Look, you don't want to sign contracts with these hail chasers, these storm chasers. People come in during bad weather and say they'll take care of it. Work with a local company who's locally owned and operated and has been for 34 years, who can handle this project from start to finish, and you know they will stand behind their warranty for the lifetime of your roof. There's a reason why they were voted best of Johnson County, so schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to CenturyRoofingKC.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text FORCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text FORCE to 42424. That's FORCE to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop Double G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line. Plus, 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys when you switch.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
We up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop Double G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that jangle.
With 24 monthly bill credits, 4 eligible trade-ins, and 4 new lines with autopay. Well-qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreements due. $829.99 credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.
I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
The Gingerbread Holiday Pop-Up at T-Mobile Center. The Gingerbread is Kansas City's newest and most delicious destination this holiday season. Located at Conica Minolta Founders Club inside T-Mobile Center, the Gingerbread is a magical, one-of-a-kind experience where you can celebrate in style. You'll love it. Visit t-mobilecenter.com for more.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in 25 minutes, we'll have a little fantasy football conversation, as always, on a Thursday. Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. Congrats, by the way, to our listeners. If you were part of our Cody and Gold garage sale, Guillotine League, and our garage sale, our Guillotine League.
I had a run.
Garage sale is on the mind only because we got some new items in the last couple of days. But no, our Guillotine League, you had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
You lost
Bye week.
Lost out to me by a point.
Mm-hmm. And Jamar Chase was on by.
You got to stack that roster better.
I couldn't. I tried.
I think I'm about done. But anyway, congrats to our listeners, though, that are still around. There's only, 5 left, so that's pretty darn good.
You know, let me down? Jalen Hurts. That's how I got knocked out. I needed a quarterback for the bye week.
Yeah.
Because I had Josh Allen on bye as well. Doesn't help.
Bad roster construction, It sounds like bad roster.
I should have paid attention to buys. That's for damn sure. I wasn't paying any attention to that.
But what's been cool is there's been a lot of people that were in it over the last couple of years, our listener Guillotine League, and we had a few people this year had never done the Guillotine League format. And they're like, now I got to do. They're like, this is a ton of fun, and it is a lot of fun. So props to those that are still alive, even if you don't. The fact that you're alive this late in the season is actually pretty impressive. So that's been fun, and we'll talk fantasy football in 25 minutes. We also have the random question of the day here in about 10 or so. But let's
get semi-related to Drew's team.
Yes, the random question is.
It is.
Yes, it is.
As a warning. Semi-related.
It's not negative. Don't worry.
Adjacent.
It's not negative. It's a positive thing. Anyway, let's get to all 32.
Maybe.
All right, all 32 around the coaching front. There's a report from The Athletic that Mike Vrabel would be open to the New York Jets job. Now, he should be open to every job, in fairness. Like, if it opens up, there's only so many of them. So
except the Panthers, maybe.
You should be open to everyone, but unless he doesn't have any other options, this seems like a bad spot. Now, if you're the Jets and you land Mike Vrabel, that's a hell of a hire. Like, if I'm a Jets fan, I would love that hire. Be another defensive guy, though, back to back, even though I typically would just always hire an offensive mind because the Jets are going to need to get another young quarterback very soon. I don't know if Rodgers is back or not next season. But Mike Vrabel, I'm guessing, is going to have other options. I just don't think this is the best one he could get. He's going to be a head coach again next year. I think all agree on that. But the Jets, you should be open to every job. I just don't think the Jets is the best opportunity for Mike Vrabel.
This is the way this works, though, is that if you don't take a job this year, that's it. You cannot take 2 years off. Somebody else will come around, like some other coordinator, some dude who ain't you, and you'll have to go beyond, you'll be Matt Patricia, and you'll be on Good Morning Football as of tomorrow morning. So unless you don't want to be an NFL head coach anymore, any job that technically offers you the job, if you're Mike Vrabel, you kind of have to take. Forget this pickiness. Bill Belichick couldn't even be that picky for the job. he wanted because so many teams turned him down. It just doesn't make any sense.
Interesting to see
Good.
Be interesting to see the Ohio State potential if they fire Ryan Day because he's an alum.
Yeah,
it would make sense.
In the NFL.
Interesting job.
Belichick and Vrabel are both going to be trying to get jobs again. It's just kind of interesting. Two pretty darn good defensive coaches are going to be available. What teams are willing to hire defensive-minded? Which teams are going on? Like the Bears are clearly hiring an offensive.
Yeah.
They would be foolish to replace Eberflus with another defensive guy. So I think that job, that's out on defense. The Raiders, if they fire Pierce, nobody's talking. I think he's getting fired, but there's not a whole lot of noise. We know the Jets look at some of the other opportunities. Like how many of them are hiring defensive guys?
I don't think any job is good if you have no idea who the quarterback's going to be. Therefore, I don't think the Jets job or the Raiders jobs are good. But I understand why, if you're Mike Vrabel, the Jets job might fit some things. Can we create a new NFL award? I want to call it the Mike Tomlin Lifetime Achievement Award for dealing with pain-in-the-ass wide receivers. Because he's the king, guys. He is the king of dealing with pain-in-the-ass wide receivers. The second a wide receiver crosses the invisible line, it's like Field of Dreams, like disappearing if you're Moonlight Graham. The second a wide receiver leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're somehow an even bigger pain in the ass than they were when they were paying for Mike Tomlin, and the rest of us didn't know it. Deontay Johnson would not go in the game for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations in the Baltimore Ravens. They have now suspended him for a game, which is 2 weeks because they're off this week, and there's talks that they might just flat out cut him. Now, they didn't give up a lot. That's actually a trade I would have liked the Chiefs to make at the time. In retrospect, absolutely not. But, I can't believe how good of a job Mike Tomlin has done in the course of his career maintaining the attitudes on his team. It is a gift.
I don't know if it was this year or not, but I think it might have been this year. Mike Tomlin, somebody said Antonio Brown said he wants to come back and play for you. Would you ever entertain that? He didn't even answer the question. He walked out of the room.
No, because it's not a serious question. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It's not a serious question. Antonio Brown offered to play for free is what it was.
Yeah, that's
everybody.
what it was.
I mean, Drew, you'd offer to play for free as well. So would I.
Not for the Steelers.
Stop.
Oh, man, I'd be out there cutting routes. You kidding?
I'd get destroyed, but you would absolutely do it for free.
But the second I got hurt, I would at least be just making league minimum while I was on the IR.
You know how much,
right? Just getting hurt immediately.
Just you being able to have the uniform on a sideline NFL Sunday, the adrenaline rush. Well, you would look.
Yes, no, exactly.
You would look ridiculous, but to act like you wouldn't do it, even if you didn't play, if the adrenaline rush you would get putting on a Chiefs uniform, full pads, and you got to run out of the tunnel. You know how amazing that feeling probably is?
Oh, yeah, probably feels great.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. That's all I need.
That's all I need. Just middle guy out of the tunnel. Don't need to be first or last. Just right in the middle.
Yeah. Don't be the last guy or the first guy. Who is this? Along the Jets point, Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, as he regularly is, which is where the whole Netflix thing came out. Not about that, but I think Aaron Rodgers is right about this one thing. He doesn't need to prove anything. I think he's right. You can sell off into the sunset and be done. I think a lot of people would like that.
He's got a documentary coming.
You can go off and do your own thing. I think we should all watch it, by the way. I think that would be interesting.
I don't want to watch it.
I'll watch it.
I think we'll
There's
watch
a lot of people act like they're not going to watch. You're going to watch.
But I think Aaron Rodgers is right where in the mind of how he's playing down the stretch, it's not how he's going to be remembered, I don't think, because he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I think that's what, even though he's struggling and, of course, he's a little bit out there, he's still going to be remembered for being one of the best quarterbacks ever. I think he's right. He doesn't have to prove anything.
It's crazy how the
his
end is
reputation is like he'll end up as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but it's not a football-related reputation.
But I'm serious. For about 10 years, Aaron Rodgers was talked about like a messiah. Like he's one of the most gifted quarterbacks to ever walk the planet. No one's going to talk about him that way anymore. He has wrecked all of that. No one is good. And he's on the heels of Mahomes coming through. There were guys better than before. People will not talk about Aaron Rodgers the way they were going to talk about him early in his career.
Up until Patrick Mahomes really showed up, I think everybody you could consensus-wise say Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of he looks the best throwing. He throws the football better than anybody ever has in the history of the game.
But no one's going to talk about him that way anymore because of the last 5 years.
I don't know if nobody. I think when the dust settles and
Time heals all
there will
wounds,
obviously be a lot of people that view him.
less.
There's a lot of people that will view him differently forever. But in terms of on-field accomplishment, I think people will be able to eventually step back on that. Not right now. The documentary looks very weird with the ayahuasca stuff and everything. But I kind of want to watch it.
That
I'll
was
be honest.
reportedly. Apparently, Netflix couldn't move the date. That's why Aaron Rodgers missed that week of training camp or whatever, because Netflix said, we're not moving this, we have to shoot it. So that's why he was on vacation in
Here's why
Egypt
the documentary is weird, because it's coming out in this month. It's weird because, of course, the Jets and he are having a horrific season, and then now you got this documentary. We'll see. That is all 32. Someone on the text line, 913-586-7965, says there's a video of Michigan coming out of that tunnel, taking the field against Ohio State. From a player's perspective, it's absolutely incredible.
Oh, I bet.
If you haven't seen the video, you should. It looks like Michigan is walking out to like the Roman Colosseum. And they also added some cinematic music to it. But
probably helps.
But it
shot by the Gladiator director or
but
something.
Watch it and tell me you don't get some goosebumps. Like it feels like it looks like they are literally about to enter the Roman Colosseum. It's Columbus,
football,
Ohio.
baby.
That's right, Drew. But when it comes to the ability to run out of the tunnel at any sporting event like that, I can't imagine the adrenaline rush you get.
You get 30,000 more people in those stands in Columbus and Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Than you do in the NFL.
It must be a terrible seat up in the bleeds in there.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I'm sure.
100,000 people?
You're out here looking at like dots. You're just like, who the hell's that?
It's December 5th. We're still waiting for Drew to make his Arrowhead appearance. Still waiting. Almost in the seat. There's only 2 more home games left until the playoffs.
Damn, Drew, you gotta it's a rush.
Yeah.
It's a rush against time.
Yeah.
Sunday night?
Oh, Sunday Night Football?
That's a good opportunity for you to go. You've
Drew,
never
that's
been.
a great one. Sunday Night Football against the Chargers?
That seems like a
That's
good
the
one.
one. I
You've
think
got
that's
to
the one.
pass, man. You've got to pass.
I think that's the one. I think that's the one you should go to. And we'll find you a tailgate to go to so you can experience
People
the
have
full thing.
offered. We tried to do this a couple weeks ago. Multiple people texted in.
Always.
Said whatever, that they had a spot for him.
I don't know what to think of this Chargers game, because if they lose, I don't think that the division's in question. They're 3 games up. Even if they lost, I think they're losing 2 more games than the Chargers are, and then they got to lose a million times. Get out of here.
Division's over.
Division's fried. So, what does Sunday even tell me? That they can beat another division game?
Yes.
Ugly, close division games don't mean anything. They don't move the needle inherently for me, other than I think that this is one of the 5 or 6 best teams in the AFC. They're one of the better teams in the AFC. They're in the top third.
I mean,
of
the actual
AFC
playoff
teams, right?
seating would tell you the Chargers are the 6th best team. I mean, that'll
but I
actually.
think that's around where they are. I think that's a true telling of where they are.
I think what Sunday is that for a lot of people that are understandably not having a whole lot of confidence in what they're seeing right now with the close wins against Carolina and Vegas, if the Chiefs on Sunday win, and certainly if they were to win in greater fashion than they have, period, I think that would calm, maybe you guys disagree, would calm some people down a bit because it's a playoff team. Yeah, it's not, maybe it has to
about the Broncos,
maybe it has to, yeah, but the Chargers.
We don't take them as serious, I know.
I don't think people do. If maybe for you it's, hey, they got to do it to the Steelers on the road, and if that's the case, then that's the case. But I think that's the only thing you get out of this game, other than maintaining number 1 seed, which is bigger. But in terms of from a fan perspective, beating a playoff team, they haven't beat a playoff team since we think Broncos are a playoff team. So since week 10. So for 3 straight weeks, they haven't beat a playoff team. They lost to the Bills, we all know. So that's what I think Sunday could be. But the division's done. I'm not worried about that one bit.
It was probably a half hour ago, someone on the text line, I think it was the 913 had said, I think by the time Monday morning comes around, we'll be talking about this team as the number 2 seed. That, to me, is the biggest story of this weekend, is that if the Chiefs lose and the Bills beat the Rams, a team that they are better than but can lose to, but it's really one of only 2 games the Bills can lose. Let's just be honest. The Bills can only lose 1 of 2 games the rest of the way. Maybe, I guess, football's weird, but come on, I give it a 5% chance they're losing to the Jets or the Patriots. And that's who they face, one of those 2. I can't even remember which. It doesn't really matter. They're all the same. They face
Patriots twice.
Okay. They face one of those 2 teams twice and the other one once. But it's so this is only 1 of 2 weeks. So if we have to come in here on Monday morning because the Chiefs lost to the Chargers and the Bills held their own against the Rams, and they're the number 2 seed, and we're just begging, because then the Chiefs have to win out the rest of the games.
Oh yeah.
No choice. They got to win all 3 of those games in 10 days. This weekend is a big swing, because if it goes the other way, and the Chiefs beat the Chargers, and the Rams find some way to upset the Bills, well, then now you're cooking. Now you can afford to lose any of the 3 games in that 10-game stretch, which includes the Texans, who are not playing very good football, and the Steelers, who find ways to win the same way the Chiefs find ways to win in hideous and sometimes frustrating manner, well, then it's different because then they get, like, the end of the season could shape up to be perfect for the Chiefs from the bye week perspective. I heard Chris Jones, and I understand where they're coming from because, like, the bye week doesn't do them any good if they got to play in all these primetime nonsense
There's
games.
a chance Week 18 the Broncos are the team resting their starters.
Totally.
Seriously, they might be locked in.
Could be both. But, like, it seems like it's unlikely for the Chiefs because at this point it feels like the Chiefs are going to need that game. But you'd get 10 days off before you face the Broncos and then another 2 weeks if you get the bye. Cool. That's all the rest time in the world you would need at the end of the season. This 3 games in 10 days thing could actually benefit them. But it has to start this week. They really do need this win against the Chargers for the number 1 seed.
That's what it's all about. It's all about all these games are all. It's just more than anything. It's about the number 1 seed, and of course, getting the things corrected that we've all discussed, and getting DJ Humphries up to speed more, and seeing what Hollywood Brown might look like, and seeing if they can get Pacheco going. That's everything, and that starts Sunday night.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, on the text line, 913-586-7965. You can also hit us up on the YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, video streams at TheFan965. We're up live 12 hours every day, all 3 shows. So like, subscribe over there to catch us on video. All right, so I saw, Drew, your quarterback, Joe Burrow, was in an on-field moment in which he tells Jamar Chase he has purchased a $2.9 million Batmobile.
That's right.
That Warner Brothers has released. I'm calling this a sadness gift to himself. He's sad about how his team is
so
performing.
did Mac yesterday.
We all,
Last night.
it happens all the time. We're all capable of, like, I'm in a bad mood and I'm going to go buy something to make myself feel better.
Yeah, it was on
His
Hard Knocks.
circumstances are different. He bought himself a 2.9.
Did you get it yet, though?
I don't get it for like a year, but I bought it.
That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy. You gotta go to the Ventures Batman when he had the ass eye thing on,
I think I gotta go all in and go for like the expensive bats.
the suit and all. That's gonna be funny as hell, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's gonna be hilarious. How about that for a K-bone, bro?
What if I wore it to every game? I just wore the full bat suit, Batmobile to every game. If I go crazy on Halloween, after,
What? I mean, yeah.
Then
I would be like, yeah, whatever. Getting two, yeah.
507 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I wear it again. I wear it.
So that was Hard Knocks.
They're
there.
the buy your feelings part of the offseason for Joe
I thought
Burrow.
Joe Burrow didn't like dressing up around Halloween, but he's wearing to wear a bat suit. That's weird. Anyway.
So there's a story from Evan McPherson saying apparently his financial advisor, Joe's, was like, yeah, you don't need to make this purchase, but Joe was adamant, I want it.
Well, of course you didn't make that would definitely not be a purchase you need.
Dude, there's no way any financial advisor on the planet has ever suggested you buy a $3 million Batmobile.
Did he really ask for his financial advisors? By the way,
All
you
I
don't
know
have to
is-
pay me. I have no background in finance. I can tell you it's probably not a smart purchase.
But can you afford it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can afford it.
Well, yeah, with the money that he just got paid, of course
So the
he
question
can.
I have for you today is, what movie prop would you want if you could buy anything? So look, cars and jets are going to be the obvious thing. Like, I want the Top Gun jet.
I want the DeLorean, from Back to the Future.
I think it'd be more fun if we gave answers that weren't necessarily vehicles from cars and more items from cars, but I'm open to whatever. Just give me your answers.
All right, so there's a couple that come to mind if we're eliminating the vehicle, because of course you'd want a badass jet.
Yeah, like I want Tom Cruise's jet from Top Gun. Like, where the hell are you going to even put that? I don't care.
Don't worry about
I
it.
can sell it. Give me the jet.
I actually think one of the props from like all-time classic movies then.
Yeah.
And one of the classic movies of all time, of course, we would all agree, is Pulp Fiction.
Okay, so the suitcase?
Quentin Tarantino.
That
That's a
suitcase
pretty good
is
one.
I mean, throughout the entire the
briefcase?
the briefcase, not suitcase, the briefcase.
Use the right word. But
That's got to be on the list of potential iconic props
or like
from a
Willy
movie.
Wonka's hat or something, or an everlasting gobstopper. Like, those are pretty classic ones. I thought the Infinity Gauntlet, like the one they used.
That's the one. That's what
Come
I was
on,
gonna
that's
say.
pretty badass.
That's what I was going to say.
That looked
actually,
pretty
yes.
good on a shelf, wouldn't it?
That's actually really good. Someone says the car from the Hallmark scene where people are sitting at the cafe.
That could be yours here real
That's
soon.
right. That's right.
Just give it some time. That Mazda might be
Mazda's
available.
value is just going up, But yeah, if you want to buy it from me, just let me know.
Someone says the Space Jam 11s. Oh man, that would be cool. You love Space Jam. Could you imagine if you had
love that
LeBron's
movie.
or Michael Jordan's full outfit
Space Jam
from
all
that?
timer. I mainly like
His uni?
I mainly like the soundtrack from Space Jam, but yes.
Someone said a lightsaber from Star Wars is an obvious one.
Someone else said Mitsubishi Lancer that Paul drove from Too Fast, Too Furious.
I feel if you take
we said no vehicles, but I hear you.
I said I'm open to it. I said you
because
could
I think
send
a
them in
lot
if
of
you
people
want,
would take. I think a
Someone
lot.
says
a lot
Pulp
of people would take
Fiction is
cars.
awful. What?
What about you're crazy. What about the someone says Rocky's boxing trunks from part 1? What about the Wilson volleyball?
Oh, from Castaway?
Immediate talking piece, right? I mean,
just
someone
have it
walks
up,
in
yeah,
and
just have it
you
up.
just have Wilson on your shelf, the real Wilson.
They'll be like, that's not,
from the movie?
No, that's the real Wilson.
I think that'd be kind of it. I know there's a lot of people that will do the ring from the Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's
Text
some
line
obvious
said
ones,
Dorothy's ruby slippers. I think there was an article
Those actually
recently
went
that
up for sale not that long
somebody just bought them for, what was it? Was it $2 million or something? Dorothy ruby slipper sale. I think it just sold. There was an article. They're up for November 6th, up for auction. Judy Garland's Wizard of Oz ruby slippers. They're up for auction at $1 point something mil? Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know.
What am I going to do with Wizard
Honest
of
to
Oz
God,
ruby slippers in my...
If a girl walked into your apartment and you had the actual, she'd think you're a murderer.
Well, I would too.
She would think you are a serial
that's weird.
dude. If on display in a glass case with lights on them, Gold had the original ruby red slippers from the Wizard of Oz, you'd be like, okay, weirdo.
No, that
I'm
would be
officially out of this situation.
Yeah, I still think if you had the briefcase from Pulp Fiction on display, I think that would be actually really cool to have on display. A
proton pack and trap from Ghostbusters, that'd be pretty sweet.
So a lot of people say the fedora from Indiana Jones, and I'm just not a big fan of that series, but yes.
I wanted they made a Super Soaker squirt gun that was a proton pack. I wanted it so bad as a kid. Dude, it just it was a proton pack Super Soaker. I wanted that thing so bad. I mean, I guess now I have adult money. I could just buy it secondhand or something, but seems kind of weird.
Yeah, someone else on the text line, 913-586-7965, when they were going through movie props, they said that the Talk Boy from Home Alone, too. Here's my only pushback. Yeah, you would have the one, but the Talk Boy was something we all were able to buy. I can't buy the briefcase that looks just like, I don't think, in Pulp Fiction. The Talk Boy was something that was so popular that everybody could buy one. I had one as a kid.
Someone says Odd Jobs hat from Golden Gun over on Twitch. Scoob said that, which,
a lot of Babe Ruth signed baseballs from the Sandlot.
Oh, the one that's a good.
The one the dog had in his mouth.
That's if it was that thing a real I don't know.
Hannibal mask. Yeah, I don't want. That's creepy though. But I hear you.
I mean, you wanted to
I mean, the most obvious. I just did a quick Google search of greatest movie prop of all time. What do you think they list as number one?
Movie prop of all time?
Yeah, I just Googled it.
It's got to be the DeLorean.
Number one, lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whose? You want Han Solo. Whose
it's gotta be
lightsaber?
Han Solo. It
Whose
has to
lightsaber?
be.
Darth Vader's? That's a pretty classic one.
It's got to be either
it's
of
an
those two.
all-time villain, man. Skywalker. Right? I'm just asking, which one? Someone said the rock hammer from Shawshank.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
Classic one.
There's some good ones.
There are a lot.
It says ruby slippers are already tied to a murderer. Cody, didn't you see the movie?
Yeah.
Helmet from Gladiator.
The one that Russell Crowe wears? I haven't seen the new one yet. I want to go see it.
Gladiator 2.
It's Denzel's highest grossing.
Is it really?
Not grossing. Highest. His most watched movie, I think, in week. It ranked above
from
everything he's ever done.
From the 816, Cousin Eddie's RV from Christmas Vacation. Somebody also mentioned the pool cues from Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason in The Hustler. You ever seen that movie? That is a great movie. The Hustler by Paul Newman.
I haven't seen that.
It's an old. It is a legitimately great movie. I had a film teacher who made us watch it.
Okay.
When I was at community college, he was this guy was just teaching adjunct at Maple Woods Community College.
You've messed up. You've messed up. The text line is very. Which one of you said? Which one of you said Han Solo? The text line is very mad. Star Wars fans have texted in.
I got it. I said it wrong.
They're all over you for the Han Solo comment, and I appreciate a few of you that continue to text in items from the Hallmark movie. They said Gold's sweater, Gold's jacket.
You didn't get to keep any of those?
Those were all mine. They didn't give us clothes to wear.
They told you to wear a sweater.
They basically sent us a photo and said,
"Well, we gotta put one in the garage. I'll make this available for the people."
Maybe they sent us a photo and they basically dress up like this. So yeah, I had the jeans you're not getting because I still wear those. Sorry, jeans, a sweater, and then a pea coat, and that was it.
Did you own the pea coat? Okay.
I just don't ever wear it. It's a little small. I could probably put that one in. It's a little too small to be.
We gotta have one.
And then the car obviously is not for sale. I mean, there's always a price, but yeah,
it is for sale eventually, just not yet.
But we do have some other. You and I were at the premiere as we talked about. So you and I did bring some. We grabbed some items from the premiere, and we put them in the garage. There's like 4 pillows back in our closet now. The pennant that they handed out the Chiefs game for the Hallmark movie. We've got some Cody and Gold garage.
Can I ask one quick question before we need to go to break?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with an ornament? You don't have.
You don't have to hang it. The ornament is not. It's shaped like a football, and I can take a photo. It's something you put on your desk.
Okay. I'm just asking.
It's not a round. It's not like a classic round.
Celebrate Christmas.
I know.
Therefore, do not have a Christmas tree in which to put the ornament.
Yeah, they handed
so
out.
I thought I'd ask.
They handed out. The ornament looks like a football. It's not glass or anything like that, and it has the Chiefs logo they used in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it because it reminds me of the movie that I was in. But then the other reason why I'm keeping it, it's not like if it was a circle and a ball thing. Like, no, this is like it looks like just something you could have on your desk.
Sure.
And the hook is like you can't even see the hook. It doesn't even look like an ornament. If we're being real. So that's your answer.
This time of year, someone said the leg lamp from Christmas Story.
Or Bill Murray's bowling ball from Kingpin. A lot of great answers.
That's the random question. Up next, fantasy football time. Paul Charchian, Guillotine Leagues, and FantasyLife.com tells us who to start tonight in this Thursday night game, and does he trust Isaiah Pacheco for your fantasy football lineup Sunday?
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Hold in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off Berry Road and Prairie Drive in KC Mo, Friday, December 6th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Who is the area's only dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patients active with no downtime, and getting back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com
an appliance and HVAC part solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line. Golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line. Golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. We'll get back to the Snitch Line in a couple weeks. No Snitch Line Thursday, but that's coming up next week. In the meantime, let's talk some fantasy football with Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. He's presented by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. All right, Charch, well, we'll get to this Chiefs Sunday night game in a second, but at this point, you look at the AFC, and I think we all thought the Texans maybe were going to be more part of the conversation for the top spots in the AFC. That just hasn't happened. Is it, fantasy football-wise, too late to hope for C.J. Stroud to figure this thing out?
You know, I think it is from a fantasy standpoint. In fact, I love C.J. Stroud. I drafted him in several leagues, thought coming into the season, was optimistic he could be an MVP candidate. Not close. I've dropped him outright. They're on bye this week. Then 2 straight tricky matchups. They get Miami after that, and then they get your team, Kansas City, which is, okay, your pass defense has been more yielding lately, but in totality is still a tricky matchup, or I wouldn't feel comfortable starting him. And so, and even after that, Baltimore's pass defense is much improved. And so there really isn't a spot left where I'm like, yeah, I really feel good about starting C.J. Stroud, and I could go win 3 playoff games with him. So I'm saying let's drop C.J. Stroud, that you probably already have another quarterback on your team, and let's put that roster spot into a high-value handcuff, like a Justice Hill or a Blake Corum or a Ray Davis or a Khalil Herbert or a Zach Charbonnet. Or, and here's the twist ending, you could pick up a sophomore quarterback who's playing better football than Stroud right now, Bryce Young, in a bizarro world reversal from last year.
Now, do you think if you're in a redraft league, you drop Stroud and you're like, okay, no problem. What if you're in a keeper league and you're mainly worried about, do you think if you dropped him, somebody else in your league would actually pick up Stroud and say, okay, well, I'll take Stroud next year as an 11th rounder?
Yes, yeah, right. And that's, in that scenario, you can't drop Stroud because next year he could be right back to 35 touchdowns and nobody'd be surprised. But for the remainder of this year, given the schedule, the way he's playing, yeah, he's droppable for standard redraft leagues.
Charge, I understand that this is part of strategy of fantasy football, but honestly, I just think it's because, fantasy football is kind of a cruel bitch. I don't think it's fair that some team gets to just pick up Isaac Garindo when two running backs go down in the same game. So all of a sudden, I got to face Isaac Garindo this week. Should I be scared of this player, you know?
Well, okay. Well, you raise a great point. Cody, if your league is still doing waivers by waiver priority or worst team first, it's not fair.
Yeah.
The people who deserved Isaac Garindo are in the leagues where you're bidding fab dollars, and the team that held it the longest deserves him because that team held it the longest, for just this kind of scenario. So you're playing wrong, and I don't say that very often. Like 99% of me is like, play the way your league wants to play, but the only fair way to distribute free agents is via fab bidding on a weekly basis. You guys know how it works in the Guillotine League.
Yep.
Garindo could be a league winner. Absolute league winner. So it's Chicago coming up. The way you beat Chicago on the ground, you get to avoid Chicago's star cornerbacks, Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. Last week against Chicago, Lions runners, 228 combo yards. Week before that, Aaron Jones snapped a month-long funk with 129 yards. The week before that, Josh Jacobs, 134 yards against Chicago. All those guys benefited from receiving yards, and Gurrell can catch a little bit too. He's a converted wideout. And probably the fastest running back in the NFL, former sprinter, at the Combine ran a 4.33.
Jeez. Yeah,
I know.
It's not slow.
Yeah.
We're talking to Paul Judgian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. He joins us each and every Thursday here on Cody and Gold. Let's stick with the running back theme. How about in Minnesota, your neck of the woods? Aaron Jones, we know the type of player he's been, but fumbles have been a serious problem for him. Is this a situation where his job is secure, or should people be looking at, Cam Akers, I guess, as a backup?
Yeah, Cam Akers probably, little Ty Chandler. If they had a better backup, I'd be more worried. 6 fumbles this year for Aaron Jones, and horrible times in the red zone, at the stripe, stuff like that. He could be one more fumble away from a protracted benching. In fact, last week, he had 2 fumbles, and after the second fumble, he didn't play for a quarter, which was almost certainly a rebuke for the fumbling. And, Kevin O'Connell's a nice guy, Aaron Jones is a nice guy, but there's no place for fumble, especially near the stripe. By the way, speaking of near the stripe, here's Aaron Jones' numbers from inside the 5-yard line. He's had 12 carries from inside the 5 for -3 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oof. I know, right? So there's some danger here. And by the way, Atlanta's coming to town here in Minnesota. Sneaky good run defense. No runners hit 100 yards all year. None have topped 59 yards or scored in a month. So tricky spot for Aaron Jones this week. Don't like him.
Church, when you look at because I've got him in a league, but it's like him or Devontae Smith in a flex spot, right? I mean, when you're stuck between those in a PPR,
Smith.
you just go Devontae Smith and say,
I would.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
At least on the other end. So in that same league, Charge, I'm going to keep the running back theme going because now it's about getting my personal fantasy team to the finish line. Bucky Irving.
Yes.
I think in week 4, I was very proud of myself for taking Bucky Irving in a couple of leagues, and it's not like it's been bad, but if they hand the ball off one more time on the 1-yard line to a different back, I'm going to lose it. So was last week the final, okay, it's Bucky all the time, all fantasy owners can count on him?
God, I hope so. Cody, 25 carries last week, 125 yards, 3 receptions, 33 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Bucky Irving. This might be the seismic change. Last week's game, 25 carries. That might be the seismic change we've been begging for because Bucky Irving is so good. I contend he is one of the 5 best running back talents in the league. Here's some stats to back it up. Yards per carry, 4th best. Avoided tackle rate, 4th best. Yards after contact, 2nd best. Efficiency, 4th best. Rushing yards over expectation, 8th best. So it looks – I mean, Bucky Irving's just so good. I think the Buccaneers and offensive coordinator Liam Cohen have finally just, thrown up their hands and go, okay, we just can't do a timeshare anymore. We can't do a committee anymore. Bucky's just too good. We've got to get him on the field, and hopefully that's going to continue here.
Somebody we talked about earlier on our show today was Isaiah Pacheco, who's coming back from the injury. Last week, Andy said, hey, about 20 plays is all we're going to give him. I didn't think they ran the ball enough, period. And I think this Sunday in a divisional game against the Chargers, I feel like Isaiah Pacheco is going to be very close to the normal workload. How do you see this matchup? Where do the Chargers stand against the run, at least?
Yeah, they're pretty good against the run, but worse lately, and we'll talk about that. So Pacheco got that 50-50 touch split last week with Hunt. That's over. And you and I have talked in shows past. Hunt was arguably the league's least effective starter on a per-carry basis. He was fantasy relevant just by volume. And then last week, Pacheco ran for 6 yards per carry. Hunt ran for 2. It's clear who the better back is. And part of the reason I think Monday night he's going to get workhorse treatment. The Chargers, despite being a very good run defense, 3 straight opponents have worked that team with power backs that have gotten a ton of use. 3 weeks ago, Chase Brown, 27 touches, yielded 143 yards. Then 2 weeks ago, Derrick Henry, 24 rushes, 140 yards. Last week, Bijan Robinson, 32 touches, 135 yards. So the last 3 teams to face the Chargers have all gone workhorse back. I think we're going to get that out of Pacheco.
How about the game tonight? We think it might be a possible NFC Championship game preview. Josh Jacobs, he's been great.
Hey.
Mr. Minnesota.
The Vikings are in second place, I will remind you, with a 10-2 record.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is so sometimes quarterbacks have to pass the smell test. I think you have one of the 5 or 6 best coaches in the NFL. I do not think you have one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks.
He's played like one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks. I mean, I think if you look through the metrics,
I know he's my CJ Stroud replacement this week, by the way. So
perfect. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely perfect.
All right, let's say it's not hypothetically, since we've got the Minnesota guy on an NFC Championship game preview. We okay to start Josh Jacobs tonight, knowing that Detroit's defense? I keep feeling like eventually they'll lose enough people that dam will break. But I don't know, maybe not.
Well, no, there are there's a lot of injuries on that Detroit defense. Alex Anzalone out, right? That was a huge loss. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, huge loss. Marcus Davenport, big loss. DJ Reader, big loss. I mean, this is, that part of it is pretty significant. But there's this about Josh Jacobs that worries me a little bit, and it's less about the opponent. He just got off the injury report, keeps getting banged up at the end of every game, literally limping off the field in some of these games. So the past 5 weeks, Josh Jacobs averaging 22 touches per game. He's had quad, calf, ankle injuries. He's due for a rest game, maybe half his normal volume. And Detroit sees the fewest rushes per game, just 21 per game. And they're a really good run defense. The last 4 runners to face the Lions, it was Joe Mixon, 46 yards, Travis Etienne, 27 yards, Jonathan Taylor, 35 yards, DeAndre Swift, 39 yards. That's it. All good runners, and they averaged 36 yards. So there's a ton of injuries on this defense, and that part is real. I think it's 11 players on IR that they put on injury, put on injury reserve since the start of the season. But I do worry a little bit about whether or not Josh Jacobs is going to get enough volume and enough good volume in this game to be somebody that you get the same kind of numbers we've had lately.
Staying with the Packers on offense, I know they've got a wide receiver injury or two. Take a look at their wide receivers. Christian Watson feels like a little more boom or bust. I mean, can you start him in this game? How do you view the weapons for the Packers other than Jacobs?
Yuck. That's mostly how I view these Packers receivers. Now, and it's not that there isn't any talent. It's just that, good luck finding the right guy. The only guy that you start every week is Jaden Reed. Through thick and thin, in, week out, he's their best receiver. He's their Rashee Rice, effectively. The only Packers receiver who can be special after the catch. And Reed runs overwhelmingly from the slot. That puts him up against Amik Robertson. And Reed hammered him in the Week 9 matchup between these teams, 113 yards. And then last week, Robertson got worked over by Keenan Allen, 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I like Jaden Reed tonight and all the rest of them. If Romeo Doubs doesn't go, then you mentioned Christian Watson. Maybe at that point you could throw a dart at Christian Watson if Doubs doesn't play.
On the other end for the Lions, Jameson Williams didn't even play in the last matchup, and that matchup was weird anyway. Jordan Love is coming off the injury. They didn't throw much. I don't feel like I've got a good feel for what this game will be tonight based on that one. Williams is averaging probably 70 yards a game over the last 4, but only 1 touchdown. Are you starting him tonight?
Yeah, I am. I like this matchup. So let's talk it through for a second. So Jameson Williams did not play in the earlier meeting. Green Bay's top cornerback, Jair Alexander, has already been ruled out. That puts Carrington Valentine on the field. And here's where it gets interesting. Jamison Williams is a deep ball specialist. He averages the fourth deepest reception at 18.5 yards per reception. Jair Alexander's replacement, Carrington Valentine, gives up the fifth deepest catch, 16 yards per reception. And that means it's bombs away for Jamison Williams. I see big catches coming for Williams downfield, and I think he's a sneaky good start for a player who's very hit and miss. I think if it's going to be an all or nothing week, this is an all week for Jamison Williams.
So you're saying don't trust people named Carrington. That's what I'm getting at.
That is, well, yes, that's a life lesson.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very, very true. All right, last one for you, George. This is more of a league structure question. Someone actually tweeted me a week ago, and I said, all right, fine, I'll ask George. They said, should their league have limits on positional limits? Like, basically, they were saying, should they be able to have 8 wide receivers on their roster if they want to have 8 wide receivers on their roster?
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they're going to short suit themselves at every other position. And then, when they lose a tight end or lose a running back, they have nowhere to pivot. It's sure. You want to if somebody's that dumb in your league, let them be that dumb.
There you go. That's the advice we're looking for. Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and Fantasy Live. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, my friends. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
You got it, Charge. Charge Conversations presented by Twin Peaks Eats, Drink, Scenic Views. So Carrington's not a common name, so that's why it's kind of funny that there's a player for the Packers tonight named Carrington Love that is playing.
And you're not offering any Carrington Love in this scenario.
No, that's not
it's
at
quite
all.
the opposite of what you're offering.
I'm expecting Carrington to make sure he finds a prop bet involving either Carrington Love getting torched tonight or if there's like a tackling prop to bet on Carrington Love. But no, the last question with Charge was because in a lot of keeper leagues, people will keep 6 running backs on their roster.
Oh, Carrington Valentine. Carrington Love's a former basketball player.
Carrington Valentine is the player tonight.
Same difference. Love, Valentine.
I know what you're saying.
I know what you're going with.
No, but the structure thing, because some people in their fantasy leagues, they'll have keeper leagues, and they'll keep 6 running backs, 7 running backs on their roster in hopes of trying to keep one of them. And so, I think if you want to have 7 quarterbacks, if you want to be dumb enough, go for it. I agree with Charge.
I kind of do. I am in one 16-team league, and I'll just tell you right now, if there wasn't a cap at 2 quarterbacks, I mean, you're out here fighting for Cooper Rush in a bye week, man. Yeah. I mean, if you just let people keep 3, I'm not even sure it would be viable. I'm not even trying to have a quarterback to start.
I think there's somebody in one of my leagues that has. I have to look it up real quick. I think he has maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 running backs on his team.
I mean, if you can start 2 running backs, can you start 1 or 2 flexes?
2 running backs and a flex. Technically you could start 4. He doesn't, but you could start 4 running backs.
So then at least it would make some sense.
I actually have no problem with it. I think
is running backs any good? Or he's just hoarding bad ones. 7 running backs.
He's got Robinson, Jacobs, Hall, and then handcuffs. Braylon Allen, Jonathan Brooks, Garendo, and Algier.
So he's chosen to hold on to every single handcuff for his player.
Not a terrible strategy.
But he's starting whatever wide receiver he has.
If you have another injury, though, to another position, you're going to have to cut somebody because you don't have enough. And he's got both IR slots filled. Anyway, I'm talking about his team too much. He's going to text me now, and it's going to be
a lot of running backs.
I'll enjoy that. You're welcome, Harrison. Anyway, thanks to Charge.
Yeah, look, I'm still sad I'm out of Guillotine. I'm on a razor's edge in a couple of the other ones. This is kind of a sad realization for me because you would think as a full-time member of the sports media, I'd be better. I'm not good at fantasy football anymore. I was way better.
A lot of luck involved. You also got to pay a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's what it is. My problem is it's a choice. There was a time in my life in which I think consistently I was in the fantasy football playoffs competing for championships. Yeah. And now every single year in every league I'm in, I'm like, well, I'm 500 in the final playoff spot, praying to God that I find some way to scratch across this playoff team again this year and make some magical run. I don't compete for championships anymore. I might not be good at fantasy. I'm just donating to these leagues. How do you get good again? Do I need to sign up for a service or something?
Draft. Listen to Paul Charchian when we have him on.
Hey, draft, way to get better.
Draft is key, and then you got to get those steal waiver wire pickups. People that had Garendo or Jordan Mason earlier on in the year. If you had Barkley on your team, I saw some number real quick, then we can get away from the topic. But if you had Barkley on your fantasy team this year, I think it was 85% of all teams across multiple platforms of fantasy football, whether it's ESPN, Yahoo, Sleeper, or wherever, you were either in first or second in their fantasy football league.
So I should have just drafted
changer.
Saquon. You're
Game
saying.
changer.
Had I drafted
It's like
Saquon.
what McCaffrey was last year.
Yeah. But I mean, like
this year he destroyed
keeper.
you.
You can keep
This
as many guys you
year,
want if you want to pay for it.
He absolutely destroyed you.
So our keeper league is you get one for the price of admission, and then every other one costs you more money and an increasing amount. So you can keep 5 players, but you're paying like $100 for that 5th
Ours
player.
is just two
you
keepers.
You are paying the premium to hold a whole roster together.
Yeah, ours is just 2 keepers, and you can only keep a player 1 year, right? You can't keep them for 7. It's not a dynasty league. You can't keep the player for 7 straight years. You all of a sudden have a young, pick whoever young, wide. You can't have Jamar Chase and keep him for a decade.
You can keep him forever.
That sucks. I don't like that.
They're with your
I don't like
team
that.
for the rest of your time.
Yeah. No, ours is 1 year and you're done. Anyway,
Let's gotta figure out how to be good again.
Someone says that my friend draft for me, best year I've done.
Yeah, that's what I'm just gonna send a proxy or something. Maybe that's my problem. It all starts at the draft and it goes downhill from there. And then I just can't unsolve my problems. It's a tough realization. I think kids are to blame here. That's the real. That's the
Or
real
let your
thing
kids draft
here.
your team for you.
My kids? No way. They don't know anything about fantasy football.
We'll go in there, fill your board up. Say, all right, this is the only place that you can draft players from. It's got to be from this little section.
And then just say choose a player and just see if it goes better. Like when they have like a puppy dog choose the NCAA tournament bracket. It's
Correct.
the same concept. Like they can't do worse than I'm doing now. Is that what we're suggesting at this point?
Maybe I should have like Desmond or Ruby draft my team because I got
You were
bounced
out
like
week 2 of
2.
guillotine. You were out week 2. There's part of me because 2 of the guillotine leagues there's not even for money, so I'm still alive in 3, and it's way too much. Like I honestly wish I was.
You're
hoping
still alive in charges?
Oh, yeah, there's 2. It's 3 of
Man.
them. It's too much actually. Anyway,
Well, now, there's like 1,000. You got any money left in any of? There's a lot of
well,
good
it doesn't
players
matter. It's
now.
past week 14. It's locked. I think rosters are locked.
Oh yeah.
So I left. I had some left. Yes.
That's it. That's our fantasy football. I guess we could have just done what's your fantasy. I was just having a moment of realization.
It is a little late to start that here.
Yeah,
Drew
I think
already
so.
told us about his fantasy stuff.
Well,
earlier in the
I
week.
mean, and he was on the text line earlier to quickly address. I missed while I was gone. Drew
Yeah.
complaining that his neighbors at his apartment are
He was
having.
hearing him having
he's
very
always
loud
having,
sex.
He's always having some problem at some apartment he's living in.
Yeah.
But then his neighbors on the text line, I'll say this never bodes. You're never gonna not get crushed for this comment. His comment in there is either they're playing it up or this is the best sex anyone's ever had.
That's what Drew said on the air
And I'm
earlier
just
in the
like,
week.
I did.
I
say
just
that.
don't think that's a good stance to have. I would say that
I think they're enjoying themselves.
I think that people enjoy different types of sex, Drew, and some people like to have more loud.
Yes.
sex
Some
for
people
that
are just
purpose,
more vocal
and
than
some-
others.
And some
Agreed.
people enjoy a quieter version of that same sex, and that doesn't mean the sex is bad or good. That's just their preference.
And in Drew's case, his neighbors have preferred the vocal, a little more vocal.
Apparently so.
Are they? Is it just?
Oh, question. You want way too many details, Cody. What do you want them to record it for you?
For future details, so I can know whether or not they're
boy.
out of line.
Oh boy.
Is it just sound effects or are there words being spoken you can hear? Does that make sense? Like, are they saying things to each other in full sentences you can hear?
They might be, but I'm not able to hear
Okay.
that. I can
Just
only
a
hear.
muffled sound.
I
Got
can
it.
only hear sound effects.
I'm just figuring out what the situation's like. That's all. What Drew's in
As
for at
I
the
said,
moment.
there is a segment that we used to play or have when we would have an explicit version of that.
And you said it
That
kind of
is-
sounds like that.
Well, yeah,
yes,
that would
very
be
much so.
like if you're talking about like that would be normal. I think Cody was wondering more if there were words. The sound effects is sound effects for a reason because it's typically what it
Correct.
would sound like.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not like that's like some out of. We understand what the likely sound is. Cody was trying to
And
for some
again, it
reason
was-
dig deeper and what did
I
you?
like the full
Hold on.
scope.
Maybe we have a drop already, so I don't need Cody to recreate it, But like you're asking, like were there phrases that were being said? Is that what you're suggesting, Cody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out because that to me speaks to either the thinness quality of the wall or the loudness in which these sentences are being spoken.
I could not hear any words.
So
No.
I think that probably just speaks to thin apartment walls.
Gotcha. I didn't know.
Hey, I'm your daddy.
Is that what you were wondering? If you were wondering if it was stuff like that?
I think in a lot of ways that would be more awkward to hear as the person on the other side of the wall.
Was it that? Because that's bad. Yeah.
Hey, Daddy, you're. I don't think they're saying any of that.
Up next,
Oh,
we'll
my
get
goodness.
to what's trending here on a Thursday. Then we'll talk more about what's happening in baseball with owners, and it might actually be a good thing. We'll explain.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about our 29-degree man-sized drafts. Our happy hour will have you coming back for more. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promenic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. A renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
It's Black Friday, Big Sparkle Week at Shane Company. As your friend and jeweler since 1929, we have gifts to make you a holiday hero. We're kicking off the season with a special collection of diamond pieces in every price range, starting at $125 to just under $5,000. We have limited quantities, so don't wait. No matter your budget, all of our fine jewelry gifts are crafted with care to our high-quality standards. Don't miss Black Friday Big Sparkle Week in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Gold, and recently I was at Max Motors and found out firsthand just how easy the car buying process can be. They walked me through exactly what the total cost of ownership can be for a brand new vehicle, weighing what the cost of repairs would be compared to lower interest rates that, of course, newer cars offer. That's because Max Motors has the best financing options available, plus the Max Trade-In values in the Midwest, and right now the largest heavy-duty sale of the year. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. Must finance with dealer lender. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them. at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Guys, it's finally here. Wendy's new salted caramel frosty. It's cold, salted, yet perfectly sweet, delicious, and it's at the top of Santa's Christmas list. What? Santa has a list too, you know. And he's a huge salted caramel frosty fan. Probably why he's so jolly all the time. The iconic frosty with a salted caramel twist? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Salted caramel frosty flavored with other natural flavors.
The wait is almost over for the most wanted Target holiday deal. Get 10% off Target gift cards with Target Circle this Saturday and Sunday only. From your teenage nephew to your kids' teachers and coaches, Target gift cards bring joy to everyone on your list. Join Target Circle for free now and you'll get the deal automatically. Shop December 7th and 8th for 10% off Target gift cards with Target Circle and save more on gifts. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single-line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one centers around Travis Kelce. He is the Chiefs nominee this year for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Obviously, the most prestigious award to win in the NFL. Each team gets to nominate someone. There's also a period of time for voting. The 32 nominees fan vote, and that'll guarantee some money for his charity. If he wins that, there's a good chance he does, as you pointed out with the Taylor Swift connection.
Seems
the
likely.
Swifties. And then there's ultimately the NFL Honors, which is the week of the Super Bowl that'll announce the winner. I think, is the Chiefs' last winner, was it Will Shields or somebody like that?
I think so. It's been a long time. We just talked about
Mahomes
this with
has been nominated before.
The
but
Clemente Award for baseball,
Yeah.
the equivalent, and no Royals player had won it.
I want to say
not common.
I want to say maybe
Shields.
Will Shields was the last one. Other nominees. I mean, it varies. Some of them are some of them are the biggest names on the team.
Some of
Sometimes
people you
they're
never
not. Right? I mean, take a look like the Chiefs' opponent, the Chargers. Cameron Dicker, their kicker, is their nominee. Right?
I think it's really difficult because people obviously a lot of charitable nature comes out of the NFL in this, so it's hard to choose, I'm sure. But good for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, you can go to,
it is one of those things that's honored to be nominated.
You can go to NFL.com/Man of the Year. The nominee who receives the most collective hashtag mentions and online votes gets an additional $35,000 donation for the charity of their choice. And then there's other elements. The charity challenge voting takes place beginning today through January 6th.
Next up on What's Trending, number one, Kansas falls to Creighton yesterday, 76-63 up there in Omaha. But it's a second straight year Creighton has beaten the number one team in the country as they came to Omaha. Beat UConn in their own building last year before they went on to win the national championship. Matter of fact, that was the last game UConn lost the rest of the season before going on to win a national championship. Tough loss for Kansas. They'll rebound on Sunday, or try to rebound on Sunday against Missouri Tigers in Columbia.
Yeah, we'll have Carrington in tomorrow for our Fan Club Friday in the 1 o'clock hour to talk Chiefs, but also talk a little MUKU. That'll be fun.
God, I can't believe KU wasted their football season. Could have been such a better season. Could have. I mean, don't wait. Wasted their football season.
Of course.
5-7.
That's right. Next up on what's trending, the A's. I was about to say Oakland, but no, the A's are getting Luis Severino for 3 years, $67 million. Remember, they're playing in Sacramento. Well, they're over. Look at their franchise. Look where they're at.
Honest to God, that should make you feel even better than Waka. He has been statistically a better WAR player each of the last 3 years and the 3 years in total, which means you got him for $51 million and they paid $67 for 3 years. So a much better deal for the Royals.
I'm surprised the A's did that.
Well, they paid the bad team tax for sure. Maybe they're just trying to stay. Maybe they're finally. It says they're trying to take their payroll over $100 million. What they might actually be doing, even though this should piss you off so bad if you're an A's fan, is finally start trying to compete before they land in their new city. They didn't care about competing when they were trying to get out of
that Vegas thing is still not a fully done deal either. I mean, the stadium, the cost keeps going up like everything else. Like the longer you wait to build a stadium, the cost is only going to keep going up. And everybody knows the A's owner is historically known for being extremely cheap. So it's kind of, a lot of people are skeptical. And should the city, like a lot of residents in Vegas, we talked to people when we were out in Vegas that live there. They don't want the A's out there. They don't really want the baseball team.
Next up on What's Trending, Eric Bieniemy officially out as the offensive coordinator over at UCLA. He was obviously an OC under a former teammate of his at UCLA. He was 117th in total offense over that time. Reports, according to sources, a few people were saying he wanted to be back in the NFL in 2025. Anyway, some try to claim, I think the spin zone was I was doing this for a friend. I didn't really, whatever. We'll see. Maybe a consultant job for him for the rest of the NFL season for somebody. I don't know. But either way,
he's out. Bad idea.
He's out as OC at UCLA.
Lastly, some breaking news actually in the last, 5 minutes or so. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake triggered a tsunami warning now for the coast of Northern California and Southern Oregon. That's according to the United States Geological Survey. So normally we hear about these in Asia and other parts of the world, but a 7.0 magnitude earthquake and triggering a tsunami warning for those out in Northern California and Southern Oregon. So hopefully that doesn't actually happen. But that was a bit of news that came across during the commercial break.
They've been around for a real earthquake. I guess where you
I've been in a small one. Very, very small. When I lived in Wichita, you're not far from Oklahoma. You're not near major fault lines. And I was watching TV one day, and I had never been in one before, so for a half second, I'm like, what the heck? I didn't realize it was an earthquake. All of a sudden, the TV just slowly kind of creaked back and forth.
And you're trying to decide if your brain's going crazy?
I'm just like, what? And I'm on the fifth. I'm on at the time I lived in a loft downtown there, and I was, maybe like fifth floor. Well, not that high up. And I'm like, what? And this TV going back and forth. And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, I think this must be what an earthquake. This was the dumbest thing ever. But when you haven't been in one, and that was a very minor earthquake.
Speck was on one live on the radio. Yeah, they tossed him hey, Steven Spector, was that an earthquake? He's like, I think that was an earthquake. He sounds like such a doofus in the clip, man. It's hilarious. It's so
The story was told by one of his former colleagues. Mm-hmm. We had, when we were out in Vegas, told the story.
We listened to it. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very
funny. Very funny. All right, that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Someone says they enjoyed the drops. Got to use more of them. That had me cracking up. They enjoyed the
my drops is related to
the
Drew's
daddy
problem?
drops. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a whole song.
I mean, there's a number of them that are
somebody
there.
on the text line asked for this one.
If you hear that at the top of their lungs from under, you got some. You should knock on the door.
Correct.
It's time to
correct.
It's time to address it. There's a line.
You're at by the way. You said it hasn't happened since you complained on the radio. Do we know if they're listeners?
I don't know, but it actually
hasn't happened since.
It has not happened since, and that was last week.
Maybe they're in a rut.
All right. Well. Okay.
5-day rut. Okay, good for them.
I complained on the radio, but it hasn't happened for.
Maybe they switched to daytime sex for a bit.
Saturday or Sunday.
Text line says Drew's been living through 3 earthquakes a week. Based on the way Drew's describing it, Drew's definitely 8.0 on the scale, maybe.
I'm not looking at
how high does the scale go? I don't remember.
I also think if you want to avoid that in an apartment, live on the top floor. You don't want to hear kids' feet above you. You want to I think that one accepted thing about apartment living is if you really don't want to hear your neighbors,
sure,
the best way to avoid hearing your neighbors is to live up.
Agree. Well, this is the problem. So we're on the third floor. There's 4 floors.
So close.
That one above us was taken up until they just moved in maybe a month ago. Maybe not even that. For the first 6 months, there were no problems.
This is what happened. Just moved in together. got their own place. I mean, we know what's happening here. Come on. We can see the signs.
I don't know who they are, though.
It's all coming together now. All makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll settle
highest
into a normal
earthquake
routine.
ever recorded, 8.6 on the Richter scale. So, Drew, your neighbors are about an 8.6 based on what
Well,
you're
look,
saying.
I wasn't looking up at the ceiling and seeing the fan was about to fall. It was about to fall from the roof.
If the
it wasn't
fan is
from the
shaking,
ceiling. It wasn't like that.
I think that you can say something.
It was not like that. It was not like that.
That's different.
Again, impressive. Impressive.
I'll be damned if I'll be damned if I go to complain about it and somebody says it's impressive, and that's all they say. I almost cussed. That's all they say.
They say
That'd
jealous
be-
much?
That,
Just move on with their day.
that would be.
Oh, my goodness.
I am considerate of my neighbors.
We mentioned the Luis Severino deal.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about what the A's spend. Nobody cares. David Sampson, who's the former Marlins team president, he's been a guest on the show a number of times. I thought he made a really good point on his Nothing Personal podcast, in which he said what he hears in baseball right now is more big market owners also complaining about what the Dodgers have been doing. For those who haven't been paying attention to baseball, the Dodgers now have $1 billion in deferred payments 10 years down the road to multiple major league players, including their most recent signing, Blake Snell, last year's signing, Shohei Ohtani, and others. They are, of course, as a result of all of this and all the money they spend, the best franchise in baseball, who wins the most and wins every World Series, because of course they are. But if it finally gets so out of hand that even the New York Yankees and some of these other teams who've been exploiting baseball's inequality for years, even if they're finally mad, good. Because if that happens, finally, Gold, we might actually get change in baseball, because this sport was already kind of broken in the equality standpoint. This has made it, in my opinion, so much worse. Because before, nobody was taking advantage of what turns out to be a pretty big loophole, maybe because they thought a player would never take $700 million deferred.
Yeah, that's
but once
exactly
they figured
what
it
is.
out, it's ruined it.
Yeah, and as we know in life and in sports, sometimes it takes someone taking advantage of a loophole for it to be corrected, right? Happens so many cases you can pinpoint. And this is one. This is one of those. Sometimes it takes somebody taking the loophole to the extreme for it to be corrected. And that's like, maybe that's an optimistic view that's my hope as well. That's why I said yesterday on the show, I think you should actually hope that the Dodgers sign Soto and next year sign the biggest free agent as well. And
Just blow it all up.
It gets so absurd that even teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox are upset about it. That's the only way we ever have any chance of a cap or a salary floor or anything like that. The Dodgers, I know people want to, be upset with them. If you were in their shoes, you had the financial ability and within the rules of the game to do what they're doing to potentially ensure World Series appearances at minimum, if not a title, I'd be doing the same thing. I don't have a problem with them doing it. It's that baseball has allowed this to happen. Not that the Dodgers are taking, like, if the Royals were in the opposite, let's say the Royals were the team with all the money and we lived in the town, I'd be like, yeah, good. I'm glad the Royals ownership's willing to do that. They're taking advantage of the rule that exists.
Yeah.
It's up to baseball and the other owners to fix it. But the danger is that it's going to continue to turn fans away from the sport. And maybe that's what it's going to take even more, happen even more, I should say, for them to actually cause some real change.
Can we just have one rule in baseball that makes things more equitable? That was my whole thing about why I wanted all the baseball teams to be on one closed circuit television thing. Again, the Dodgers get quadruple, septuple what the Royals get in a TV market deal. In the NFL, that doesn't exist. That's why cheap owners in the NFL are kind of embarrassing. How? All the money is equal. We all spend the same, can spend the same. We all have the same overhead cost and get the same TV dollars. What the hell's your problem? Why aren't you spending? The most you can do if you're an NFL owner to spend more is upgrade the practice facility or have slightly nicer lockers.
And whatever you're paying your coaches, that's not a salary cap thing.
Sure.
But I hear you.
But we're talking tens of millions of dollars, not hundreds
Yeah.
of millions of dollars in difference. And that's where I don't understand. Baseball needs to do something. Honest to God, just eliminating this loophole would do enough to even it a little. Because if the Dodgers are doing it now, some other team eventually will too. They'll figure out that there's some other player who will take this deferred money and move it down the road and just accept their dollars down the road, because Blake Snell's earned enough. He doesn't actually need the weekly paycheck in order to survive. He'll take his few $1 million and he'll be able to afford everything, and he can borrow off of the future equity of that. It doesn't matter to him. He doesn't need the money now. And so, like, it's just
the Dodgers
eliminate
are
the
also
loophole.
the Dodgers are also banking on the fact that $1 billion today, of course, is less than $1 billion in 10 years. It will be. It just will.
Yeah.
And they're banking on that, and they're able to handle the risk. You know, let's say
If
a
it
team
all
like
blew
let's
up,
take
yeah.
let's say a team like the Royals deferred money. It is way more likely to devastate them for years and years, down the
If
road.
they bomb the
If they
contract,
bomb it.
yeah.
Whereas the Dodgers, let's it's not because Ohtani's incredible. But let's just say in this magical hypothetical, Ohtani was a disaster.
Just got hurt and
just
could
got
never
hurt.
play
Never played. He played half a season. He never played again. The Dodgers, it would suck, but it's not going to cause them to never spend money for 30 years. It might for a small market team, and that's why it also is ridiculous.
I just think I guess I'm kind of with you at this point. Is like, it's such a broken system and so unequal that I kind of hope everyone gets mad, because what you need is like 2/3 of the league being like, it's enough. Come on, this is ridiculous. Like, and I get it. This is not the only professional sport in the world that operates this way. I don't know if anybody's ever paid attention to Premier League soccer.
Yeah.
Grossly inequitable. I mean, it's a joke. Some teams can spend $400 million just for the right to have the right to pay a player, right? I mean, like, it's huge.
That's why there's certain teams that are always going to be at the top level of Premier League, and then there's always going to be
the
few
teams
that bounce
Leeds
around.
is going to have to
Yeah.
bounce between the two levels.
Whereas, like,
or
Manchester
whatever.
City is never not going to be in the Premier League.
Right,
They're never not going to be in that spot.
Yeah, and so like that part of it, but at least they still have like caps in place.
Yeah.
Because for every league before you get there is still a limit for what you can spend for that league. They won't just let's say Man City had the worst year.
Who's your
and they
team
got-
again, Drew?
and they
Over
got-
there? Do you root for the Chiefs of the EPL or do you root for the Bengals of the EPL?
I don't root for anybody in the EPL, actually. Spec roots for Leeds, who is in the EFL Championship, which is in the second division. I root for Oxford United in the second division as well.
Okay. But so like in the
Rob is Chelsea. Chelsea is a good example. They've always been Prem.
Gotcha.
They will be Prem, and they'll always be up there.
And so like when you look at the way they do it, but at least if you're in the second league, the downside to being in the second league is it is harder to get back to the top because there's a cap for how much you're allowed to spend relative to the teams around you. So at least there's some part of the system that makes it fair. It's small. That's what basically closing this loophole is a small step in the right direction. Be like, well, we can't do anything about the money they're paying Ohtani and Snell 10 years from
In the
now.
meantime-
But future contracts, we're done there.
In the meantime, though, if I'm the Dodgers, man, I just keep doing it. Like it's on the league. It's not on. I don't actually fault the Dodgers for taking advantage of the system that allows them to
Kind of hate it, but yeah, yes. If you're saying if I were a billionaire and it were my team and I could just spend whatever the
and
hell
I knew I could put myself in a position to have a huge advantage over the entire league.
It's what's happening in college football right now. You think it's an accident that Michigan got the #1 recruit in all of football to flip? No. They got a super rich billionaire to write a very big check to convince that person to go there. That's why Phil Knight desperately wants to see Oregon win a national championship.
He basically said
before
whatever you
he
need.
dies.
He
He will
basically
blank
said,
check it.
And look, they might get it this year. it might happen
really
this
good.
year. I mean, they're pretty incredible there with the Oregon Ducks.
I just kind of hate how uneven. I guess that's why we love football so much in this country. And it's still uneven, right? There's still like problems. Like you still got to get a quarterback or whatever.
But the NFL.
But the Chiefs,
you
Kansas
know.
City is not a big market. It's one of the
It's the
smallest
most
markets.
balanced.
And they have the biggest star in the league, and he's in Kansas City.
It's the
He's
most
not in New
balanced
York.
league in any sport.
And nobody
any
cares, by the way.
Country, wherever.
The TV markets don't care that the biggest star in the league is in Kansas City. He'll still draw the biggest ratings.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Nobody cares.
Yep.
Nobody cares it's just it makes the sport so much more enjoyable knowing that. And I think it's probably because the city we're in, right? We live in a city that's never going to be the biggest market in any of the sports leagues in which we exist, even NWSL or MLS or baseball or football or anything else. Always going to be small market. Like if they ever got an NBA team, going to be one of the smallest markets. It's always going to be harder because that's just the way it works. Like somebody pointed out earlier, like I had said, if you go to the playoffs, if you're the Royals, it's a win every year. And they were like, well, Dayton Moore won a World Series in this case. I want to remind you that, okay, and this is being generous. The truth is only one small market in baseball has won a World Series in the last 35 years. It is the Kansas City Royals. If you're being generous and you said teams that act like a small market, the answer is 2 franchises and 3 overall because now I'm including the Marlins. Miami is not a small market. It is a rather sizable market.
They just treat it
Is one of the 10 biggest in the country market. They just act like a small market. If that's the case, then it's 2 in the last 20. The 2003 Miami Marlins and Florida Marlins at that time. They weren't even the Miami Marlins then. And the 2015 Royals. So is it possible? Okay, sure. 2 out of 20? 5%? Okay. I mean, no, playoff or win. It's stupid. Sorry.
No, I agree, man.
It's a broken system.
We've reached the point where it needs to just almost be even more absurd for it to ever have a chance at getting corrected. Someone on the text line said, "Can we end the show with the Hey Daddy song?" I'm not gonna play the whole song. That's a little too much.
I heard that song.
Do you want me to play that as the outro?
As the outro song?
I mean,
that's what's been suggested.
Have it as the bed, very low.
Sure.
Very
That can
low.
be the bed going out of the
That's
show.
what
instead
people.
Of Brandy.
That's what people want.
Since we were talking about Drew's
neighbor problem.
Drew, maybe you could win a bet one day, and we could.
Excuse me?
I said maybe you could win a bet one day, and we could call you Daddy for the entire show.
Oh gosh.
Which I think Nick regretted almost immediately.
Yeah,
I'll say.
I refuse.
I think I would. I would feel very uncomfortable doing that. I don't think I would feel.
I think
because of what you said, Nick felt like. I don't think I would want to feel the same way because I think I would.
And he thought the bet was well. In fairness, he sold 500 shirts very quick, and then as a result of that, I said we would do that. But man,
yeah, people are saying 2 out of 20 at 5%.
No, what I said?
Should be 10%.
Oh yeah, sorry, 10%. I was like, I said 5%.
You can always count on the text line, man. You 4 hours of perfection. You know, the 5 second of bad math will get you every single time. So yesterday,
what was it that we were debating when I was
games below or 500?
Yeah, are they 15 games below 500? Actually, like 5.
Yeah.
I forgot that part.
Tomorrow on the show, it'll be a Red Friday in Kansas City, getting set for Sunday night football. Josh Briscoe going to join us. We also might have a guest from L.A. We'll talk a little bit about what Brian Kelly's whining about and what has to happen for a win on Sunday night. That's coming up tomorrow here on 96.5 The Fan. For now, we hand it off to C-Dot and Rob on the drive.
Daddy.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion.